All right. Is the screen visible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All right. Okay. So, usually this workshop is divided into largely three sessions, and all of the sessions one, two, and three, spread over 2 days usually, but this time we are doing it for 1 day. So these three sessions usually, all the sessions contain what you see on screen. Like there's a mini lesson, and then there's a work time following that, right? So in the mini lesson part, what we generally do is I'll give you that's basically the discussion time, right? So we're going to discuss the main aspects of the workshop on basic writing skills, right? Each of the session will have a focus, right? So for the first session, it is the development of paragraph and essentials of a paragraph. Similarly, your session two will again have a mini lesson which will deal with a different aspect of basics of writing. Basic writing skills. And then followed by that, you're going to have a work time. So in the work time, you either will be doing short activities which improves your understanding of the discussions in the mini lesson. And I think the last one ends with you being given a writing task, given this is a workshop on basic writing skills, right? So, people who are joining the session, you'll be requested to please join with your own names, right? Please do not join in through random IDs. If we are not able to recognize your names or your roll numbers, then we'll be forced to remove you from the call. Since I've made the call open because I don't have a moderator, so if I keep it restricted, I'll have to once in a while come and allow people inside the meeting. So for that reason, I've kept it open. But in case there are people without actual names, then we'll have to remove you from the call.
Good
Okay.
afternoon, ma'am.
So one second. Afternoon. Right. So that's one thing. Just keep that in mind. If you have an official ID, please join through that. Okay. So yeah, this was what the plan of the session is. So you're going to have a mini lesson followed by a work time, right? So for the first two sessions, maybe I do not know. I'll decide it as we proceed with the class. Maybe for the first two sessions we'll do it, together. The work time. Maybe we won't break off for the work time after the mini lesson for the first session. We'll do maybe the two sessions together and then go for the work time. Okay, we'll see how we can do that. It all depends on how we are progressing with the class. So anyway, whatever the thing, this is how it is structured. You'll get a mini lesson, then a work time. Okay, and ultimately we are going to produce one short paragraph based on what we will discuss. Okay. Now, one thing about if you look at the title, it says workshop on basic writing skills, focus paragraph writing, right? Now, there's a reason why, although this is a basic writing skill class, I think people would imagine that you get to learn or you would probably be taught about the fundamentals of language, right? Fundamentals of writing in the sense, sentence construction, clause construction, that we do not do here, right? Because for that, you already have your lecture. We don't have to repeat everything that is said in the lectures again, right? So we do not do that thing again in this class because your lectures cover it. What we are going to do is going to get to the fundamentals of writing. And the moment you say basic writing skill in any language, whether that's English or any other foreign language that you want to learn, basic writing skill refers to your ability to write at least a paragraph, right? Paragraph, big, small, medium, right? There are several lengths to a paragraph, but at least being able to write a short to medium paragraph could be counted as possessing a basic writing skill in that language, right? And writing skills is not just about language, right? Having good language, being able to use good vocabulary or good sentence structure. It is also about the process of thinking, right? Writing is directly connected to the process of thinking. So when you say someone is a good writer or someone writes well, what you're also trying to say is that the person is able to express themselves well. And by expression, we mean that the person has the capability of thinking, right? The person has the ability to think and produce. That is what we intend to say when we say that someone's a good writer, or someone's able to present or express their ideas well. So keep this part in mind, right? So it's not just about being able to use good English or being able to write well in English or language, right? That's the point. The process also will teach you how to think, right? What is the processes involved that leads you to a good piece of writing, right? That's what we are going to look at. And we'll look at several samples in order to demonstrate this part. I haven't borrowed great works to discuss in this session because this is, as the name suggests, a basic writing skills workshop. So we're going to keep most of the samples or examples very simple, right? Something that everyone can understand and everyone can follow. All right. So we'll start off then. I think whatever I try to talk to you is clear. So we'll begin with the first part on um, development of a paragraph. So if paragraph writing is the main part of knowing how to write or knowing how to write well in any language, then the first part that you need to understand is the development of a paragraph. Right now, development of paragraph. The moment you use the word development, you should know that we are talking about either various stages or a discussion on various components and constituents that make up a paragraph, right? To develop a paragraph, uh, there are certain constituents or components that are required. There's certain stages that you need to go through to develop a good paragraph. That is what you're going to look at in this particular part of the discussion. So usually for a paragraph, there are at least three main components that become important, right? And the first among that is the construction of a topic sentence, right? Topic sentence is the most important part in the development of a paragraph, or one of the most important component in the development of a paragraph, right? Now, what is a topic sentence, right? Topic sentence, as in like the name suggests, is something that introduces you to the topic or the central idea of your paragraph, right? Whatever your topic is, whatever your main point is, right? That is uh, a declaration of that is made through the topic sentence, right? Sometimes it's a claim, sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's an argument. So, whatever the nature of your write up is, whether you're arguing for something or arguing against something, or you're trying to prove a certain particular claim, right? Or you're trying to build a descriptive paragraph or a narrative paragraph about a given person or place or theme, whatever you're going to write about, that particular idea is conveyed through your topic sentence. So it is something that makes a claim. So it's something that declares the main or central idea that would be in discussion in the given paragraph. Now, is it only that? No, right? It's the task of the topic sentence is not to just tell the reader about the topic. It also has to, it's a little more than, just saying the topic. Now, what is that? It additionally also expresses the writer's attitude about the topic at hand. Right? So it also tells the reader about what does the author think about the topic, right? What is the author's position on the given topic, right? Or what is it that the author tries to argue or claim or prove or add to the existing topic, right? So it reveals the main points or the purpose, and it also talks to you about what about the topic are you going to read, right? So that this word is very important. What about the topic? So the topic plus what about the topic constitutes your topic sentence, right? So this is what we are going to discuss in the following slide as well. See, topic plus the main idea in the sense the attitude of the author, right? This is what forms your topic sentence of the paragraph. How do you identify the topic? So if I have given you a paragraph and I tell you, please tell me what is the topic of this paragraph. You're going to go through at least these three questions in order to identify that. Okay. So the first one is what is the big idea of the paragraph? You read through the paragraph and you try and look it. what is the big idea included in the paragraph. There is that one idea, right? There could be several things that is said and done in the paragraph, but you will know that everything, every sentence that you use in that paragraph, it points towards that one main idea. That is your topic. Or alternatively, you can also ask the question, what is that one single word that I can use to describe the paragraph? If someone tells you, okay, you've read this paragraph, give me that one single word or phrase which this paragraph is about, that particular answer is going to be the topic of the paragraph, right? Another question that helps you identify the topic of a paragraph is what phrase or word do you see repeated often? So if there is a phrase or a word that you see repeating very often in a paragraph, most often than not, that would be the topic of your paragraph, right? So these three questions that you see on the screen, they act as a diagnostic tool, right? If you're confused, if you do not understand what exactly the topic at hand is, you're not able to identify just by reading, just by plain sight and reading the paragraphs, then you can use either of the three or all of the three in order to understand what is the topic at hand, right? So I identify the main idea, not the main idea, the topic of the paragraph at hand. What are these? Either you ask what is the big idea of the paragraph, what is that single word that you can use to describe the paragraph, or what phrase or word do you see repeated often in the paragraph? Okay. Answer to one of these or all of these three questions would help you clearly identify the topic of the paragraph. Now, once the topic is identified, what do you have to identify now? The main idea, right? Because topic plus the main idea is what gives you the topic sentence. So this part helps you. These three questions helps you identify the topic. And once that is done, you'll go ahead and identify the main idea. What questions do you ask to identify the main idea? Three questions mostly. Again, in this case, either you ask one of these questions or you ask all the three questions to identify the main idea, right? So, first question, what is the author saying about the topic? So, you know the topic now. Now you're asking the question, what is being said about the topic, right? Second thing, what is that single point? Sorry, what single point does the paragraph tries to convey? Right? What is that one single point that the paragraph is trying to convey? What is the main idea? What about the topic? What is that main idea that the paragraph as a whole is trying to convey about the topic? And the final one, which is the unifying idea to which all the other information point towards, right? So in a paragraph, you're going to have like a set of sentences, and you're going to locate that one sentence towards which all the other sentences tie them to, right? So you look at a sentence, you look for a sentence in that paragraph to which every other sentence, right? All the other sentences of the paragraphs can point towards, right? So they all are going to point towards that particular sentence. That sentence is going to be your topic sentence. Okay. So either you use one of this, right? One of these questions, or you can use all of the, in case you want to confirm you're not still very sure after the answer to the first question, you can move on to the second and third in order to confirm whether you have identified the main idea or the sentence carrying the main idea correctly, right? Once these two part is completed, right? Once the first part of identifying the topic and second part of identifying the main idea, both of these combined together will give you what we call as the topic sentence. Okay, is this part clear? Any questions on this? Of course, we'll look at the example, so it will be clearer for you. But is this point clear? At least this much until now? Yes, no, anybody? I see that some of you
Yeah,
have
ma'am.
joined
Here.
a little
Yes, ma'am.
later. Okay, all right. So, yeah, okay. So, if this much is clear, we'll move ahead with the second um, component of the paragraph writing, which is the supporting sentence. We'll look at the examples of a paragraph with all the topic sentence and supporting and concluding sentence. But before that, I would like to finish off that part, right? So that we can take a look at them in one go. Yeah, so also one more thing before I move on to the part on supporting sentence. Um, Topic sentences, this is about the placement of the topic sentence in a paragraph, right? So a lot of people would imagine that since this is the sentence that carries the topic and the main idea of the paragraph, probably the natural alignment would be, or the natural thought process would be that this should be the first line in a paragraph, right? A lot of us would think that way. Okay, topic sentence would be my first sentence in the paragraph. Now, there is a little bit of a nuance there in professional writing. So in formal writing, what happens is the ideal situation is where you place your topic sentence as the first sentence, right? This is particularly with respect to formal forms of writing, right? Say research papers or formal reports or emails or SOPs, right? Statements of purposes, that kind of formal and reflective essays. They usually have a tendency, or the usual um, suggestion or recommendation is that you use topic sentence, or you place topic sentence as the first sentence of the paragraph. However, you will also see some deviations in the placement of topic sentence, even within the formal domains, right? So, for example, say something like, if you're someone who's writing a textbook, right? You're designing a textbook on something. Say you're writing Introduction to Data Science, for example. You decided to publish a book on that, and you're writing an introductory textbook in data science. Now, what happens in such cases? Of course, I know book is like a longer format writing. Let's just say we talk about one paragraph in that book. If you're going to locate the topic sentence, if you're going to venture into this task of locating the topic sentence and trying to identify it as the first sentence of the paragraph, most often this doesn't happen, right? It becomes like an impossible task. Most often, this is not something that you can achieve. The reason being, when you have a longer space, right? Uh, when your writing is something that is aimed at producing a longer or a bigger text, these kind of rules or this kind of structures break down. Okay, so which means what I'm trying to say is that it is not necessary that uh, you find the topic sentences in the first line of your paragraph, right? It needn't be the first sentence in the paragraph. You will find examples. In fact, I'll show you examples where topic sentences are they appear at the end of the sentence. Sorry, end of the paragraph, right? So all the details are given, and then at the end of the paragraph, you will figure your topic sentence. There are also cases where the topic sentences are more fluid, right? It's neither in the beginning nor at the end, but you will locate them somewhere, in the middle or somewhere else in the paragraph. So, in that sense, we cannot really say that it's the first sentence of any paragraph. Please save yourself from that kind of understanding, right? People might tell you this is the ideal way of doing it, but understand that as long as your message is clear, as long as you're expressing yourself with clarity, structures can always be broken down, right? However, as beginners, it's always a good practice to start off writing with the topic sentence, right? Once you become a little experienced, a bit of seasoned in writing, then you can experiment with the structure. But when you look for samples, do not be surprised if you are not able to locate your topic sentence immediately or at the first lines in your paragraph. Okay, just to let you know. In fact, I think before I move on to the supporting sentence, or maybe I'll show you at the end. Let's continue with this thing and then I'll show you the examples later. Okay, now supporting sentence. Um, look at this one. This is very interesting. Now, supporting sentences usually are other sentences in the paragraph, right? Once you have the topic sentences, so not sentences, topic sentence, it's followed by the supporting sentence. So once you've made the claim, you need to now support your claim, right? Whatever. If it was an argument, if it was an opinion, or whether it was some kind of a claim that you have made in your topic statement sentence, any of those, whether a statement or a claim or an argument or a question, all of them needs to be supported, right? They require other supporting um, either supporting sentences to establish the claim that you're making, right? So usually supporting sentences, what they do is they either add or elaborate upon the claim that is made in the topic sentence, right? So they add on more to or elaborate more upon that one idea that is expressed in the topic sentence. Or alternatively, what it also does, it gives reasons, right? It proves. So you make a claim and then the proof of that is usually communicated using the supporting sentences. So it has mostly two tasks, right? One is either to add or elaborate upon the claim. Second is to prove what has been claimed in the topic sentence. Now, to do that, the kind of sentences that you see as supporting sentences are either example sentences, right? So, to add and elaborate or to prove, you could use example, right? So, your supporting sentences then are either of the form of example sentences or they look like sentences that give reasons, right? Particularly if you're trying to prove something, the point is to provide reasons or to prove the claims that are made in the topic sentence, then the sentences are mostly going to be of the um, kind of reasoning statement. Okay, they look like reasons. Or we'll also see facts, data, and statistics aligned in this statement. Right? So in a paragraph, when you look at them, if you have sentences which quotes data, shows you figures or statistics, then mostly they are supporting sentences. Right? I use the word mostly because I want to say it with a caution because someone can come up with a counter example showing that but the topic sentence carries the data or figures. It can. We are not saying that the topic sentence cannot carry it, but what we're trying to say is that in majority of the cases, usually the sentences that carry figures and statistics are the ones that help you in constructing a supporting sentence because they help you support the claim, right? The data, figures, statistics, etc., help you support them. Now, that in no sense means that you cannot have a data in the topic sentence, right? That's not the point you're trying to. And then one other way in which supporting sentences usually appear in a paragraph is through quotation. Again, you can use quotations from other studies or from other speakers or scientists or researchers in order to elaborate upon a claim or to add proof to the claim that you've made in the topic sentence, right? So mostly they're going to be of the four kinds that you see here, right? So as reasons, as example statements, as facts, data, statistical statements, or quotative statements. Okay. Then we have the final component in the paragraph structure after topic sentence and supporting sentences. That's the concluding sentence. Now, before we look at what concluding sentences, one point again on concluding sentence. Remember that in standalone paragraphs, right? And by standalone paragraphs, I mean paragraphs that are single in nature, right? Not like the ones that you see in an essay, right? Essays usually carry more paragraphs. A short essay would consist of at least 5 to 6 paragraphs. Longer essays may have 12, 15, 20, 25, depending on what topic you're writing about and how much they require you to write. So at least 5 or 6 paragraphs you can expect in a short essay, right? So in that kind of, if that is the kind of writing that you're engaging with, then not all paragraphs in the essay is going to carry a concluding sentence compulsory, right? That's not a requirement. Sometimes you'll find a concluding sentence only in the introductory and the conclusion paragraph of the essay. The ones that the intermediate or the intermittent paragraphs that we have, they may not have a concluding sentence. That is because of the overall structure. Essay already has an introduction, body, conclusion structure. So the nature of that writing doesn't, necessitates you to have a concluding sentence for every paragraph it has. But the introduction paragraph and the conclusion paragraph will certainly have the concluding sentence, right? In between paragraphs that you use to build up the essay, they may or may not. It's not compulsory. If it demands when you write one, even if it isn't available, it's not you don't get a penalty for that, right? But in standalone paragraph, it's only one paragraph that you're asked to write. Right? Someone tells you just write one paragraph on this particular feature of NLP, right? Natural language processing. If there's a question like that, usually when you have short answer type questions in exams, what they expect you to write is just about a paragraph on what you've understood, right? So in that kind of activities, or maybe say a speech that you are delivering to someone, right? They tell you usually to give you a a short. speech on something, that's usually like a one running paragraph of say 10 to 12 sentences. If that is the case, then these kind of paragraphs will compulsorily require a concluding sentence, right? It requires the concluding sentence by itself, given you do not have any succeeding paragraphs where you can prove your claim. This is the only one you have. So you discuss the topic, you support your claim, and then you end it also. You also provide a concluding statement. Okay, so this point you need to keep in mind. Now, what are the different kinds of sentences that you can use as a concluding sentence? One is prediction sentences, right? So prediction sentences can act as concluding sentences. Sentence suggestion sentences that make suggestions, they can also work as concluding sentence. Any summarizing statement, right? Anything that summarizes or anything that makes a final observation, that can also uh, be counted as a concluding statement. And then recommendation, right? Suggestion, recommendation is mostly the same thing. If again you have a sentence that recommends for something, that's also a kind of concluding sentence, right? But all of the four put together, whether it's a prediction statement, suggestion, recommendation statement, or an observation or summary statement, what do all of them do? What is the role or what is the function that the concluding sentence has in a paragraph? The role is to, or the function is to restate, not reinstate, it's restate. I'm sorry for the typo. Restate. Okay. So restate, what is restate what? What are we restating here in the case of concluding sentence? What are we restating? We're restating the claim that we have made in the topic sentence, right? We began with an idea, right? We began with a topic and an idea associated with it. So that particular idea and the topic, idea about the topic is restated or reinforced. Okay, said again with an emphasis, with an intensity in the concluding sentence. And to do that, we either use a prediction style statement, a suggestion or a recommendation style statement, or a summary or an observation style. So that is the point. That is what this figure represents. Okay. All right. Any questions until now before we move on to the example part?
No,
Questions?
ma'am.
Any
No, ma'am.
clarification? No? All good? Okay. So then just give me a moment. I'm going to momentarily stop the sharing of the slide because I want to share another slide with you. This is to show you the examples. Okay. So just give me a moment. Okay. Do you see the screen now?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So here in this case, actually, I was supposed to show you the placement of the topic sentence first. Let me see if that is happening. Uh, yeah. So look at this one. Topic sentence and controlling idea is same as main idea. Okay. Don't get confused with the terminology. I told you that topic sentences could be placed anywhere in the paragraph, right? So this is an example of a paragraph where the topic sentence appears in the beginning of the paragraph, right? Can you take a minute and read that? Please go through the paragraph. Read it. Okay. Have you finished reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So, what did you understand? Do you see how, the first sentence sort of gives you an idea of what the topic and the main idea is? So, writing is a complex socio-cognitive process involving the construction of recorded messages on paper or on some other material, and more recently on a computer screen. So, what is your topic here? What are we writing about?
Writing.
This
Writing,
About
writing.
right?
writing.
Writing skill.
Writing, right? So the topic is writing, and the main idea that you're trying to express here is that it is a complex socio-cognitive process involving the construction of recorded messages, so on and so forth. That is your main idea or controlling idea. So topic plus the main idea, that's your topic sentence, right? And everything else that follows, the skills needed to write range from this is all, they're all supporting sentences, right? They're basically telling you about how this is a socio-cognitive process, right? It's an explanation of that. Um, Now, look at the next paragraph here, next example here. Please read this one. Okay. Now, what do you see here? What has happened in this particular paragraph now?
The last sentence is the topic
The last
sentence.
sentence, right? The last sentence is so it's the same paragraph. All you have done is you've altered the positioning of the topic sentence. So, is it making any much of a difference to the message of the paragraph? No, right? You're able to understand it. It's just that in the previous paragraph, you gave the topic sentence, the statement is given, and from the statement, you have given the details that supported it, right? So, from a very general point of view, a very general argument that it's a complex socio-cognitive process, so and so, you have given details to how it is a socio-cognitive process, to more specific details of how it is a socio-cognitive process. In this paragraph, you just reverse the order. All you have done is you have given the specifics and the details first, and then you have used that to arrive at the general statement, which is the topic sentence at the end of the paragraph. Unlike speaking, writing is a complex socio-cognitive process. Right? So this is a possible way of arranging information in a paragraph. Right? Topic sentence can indeed go to the end of your write-up. Now, another example, read this one. Or leave this one. Don't bother with that. Read this one. Example 4. What is the topic sentence in this paragraph? Where is it located? Uh,
In between.
so,
In the middle.
which
In the
means you
middle.
need to identify the topic and the main idea, right? Yeah. Which is that sentence?
The rectangle.
The phenomena of red eye
Correct.
can be less.
Absolutely. Very good. So the phenomena of red eye can be lessened by using the red eye reduction feature found on many SLR cameras. Right? This is your topic sentence. This contains both the topic and the main idea of the paragraph. So again, it is somewhere in the middle, or let's say not in the beginning or at the end. Okay? Instead of saying the middle of the paragraph or midway through, you could simply say certainly not in the beginning and at the end. Okay? It's elsewhere in the paragraph. So this kind of,
In between.
you know, huh, this kind of movement across sentences in the paragraph is possible for a topic sentence. These are different styles of writing. If you look at this particular paragraph, isn't this the kind of paragraph you can read in a textbook? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So textbook is what it's also formal form of writing. But so then the argument that in formal forms of writing, movement of the topic sentence is not allowed is then not a real statement, right? It doesn't hold much merit. But what I understand is probably what they're trying to say is about a more professional medium of communication, something like, an email or something like something like a report, professional report, probably for those kind of professional mediums of communication, this rule probably applies to that. But otherwise, in general formal writing, I do not think this applies. And this paragraph is a clear example for that, right? Okay, so if you've understood this part, then let's move on to showing you some examples of how supporting sentences of the reason times work. And understand that when I say reason statements, you're going to identify some phrases or signposts which tells you that, okay, this is a reason statement. So in the paragraph you have here, you'll see those phrases or words in italics, right? So just quickly read through. These are all simple read paragraphs. You better stop wetting your bed or else the bogeyman is going to get you. Most of us probably remember a threat like this, one being delivered at one time or another by a parent, babysitter, or older brother or sister. There are several reasons why young children are so often threatened with a visit from the mysterious and terrifying bogeyman. One reason, okay, so first one reason is simply habit and tradition. The myth of the bogeyman is handed down from generation to generation like the tale of the Easter bunny or the tooth fairy. Another reason is the need to discipline. How much easier it is to frighten a child into good behavior than to explain to her just why she should be good. A more sinister reason is the perverse delight some people get out of scaring others. Older brothers and sisters, in particular, seem to thoroughly enjoy driving youngsters to tears with stories of the bogeyman in the closet or the bogeyman under the bed. In short, the bogeyman is a convenient myth that will probably be used to haunt children and sometimes actually cause them to wet their beds for a long time to come. Okay, so all the supporting statements are they begin with, if you look at them, they all begin with the reason signpost. One reason, another reason, a more sinister reason, and look at the last one. In short, this is the concluding sentence, right? So in short, consequently, for the reason, therefore, all of these kind of signposts indicate they're usually used to show a transition to the concluding statement. Okay, we'll look at the signposting part a little later. But is the example clear to you? How we use this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, now we
Yes,
look at
ma'am.
the facts and or statistics thing, right? So I told you another way you use the supporting sentences is by using facts and statistics. So look at this one. The global economy is projected to grow 6% in 2021 and 4.9% in 2022. So I again also told you that this doesn't mean that the other sentence, particularly the topic sentence, cannot carry any figures. So in this case, it does carry figures. And then that statement, that topic sentence is then explained or elaborated through other statistics in the paragraph, right? So reading further, the 2021 global forecast is unchanged from April 2021 WEO, but with offsetting revisions. Prospects for emerging market and developing economies have been marked down for 2021, especially for emerging Asia. By contrast, look at the transition devices that's being used, right? By contrast, the forecast for advanced economies is revised up. These revisions reflect pandemic developments and changes in policy support. The zero point 0.5 percentage point upgrade for 2022 derives largely from the forecast upgrade for advanced economies, particularly the United States, reflecting the anticipated legislation of additional fiscal support in the second half of 2021 and improved health metrics more broadly across the globe. Okay, so this basically, you can understand it is some paragraph that's taken off a report, right? Report on the projected growth of economy in a given quarter. Okay, so obviously, this is another way you provide support or frame supporting sentences for your paragraph. Then quotation, right? Next is quotation. Talking about the craft of writing, Pinker hints at, Pinker is the name of the writer, author. Pinker hints at how writing is inherently poetic in nature. He remarks, right? Now, this is a quote. So, to prove the point that how writing is inherently poetic in nature, he remarks, look at almost any passage and you'll find that a paragraph has 5 or 6 metaphors in it. It's not the speaker is trying to be poetic, it's just that that's the way language works. Okay, so this is another way you build a supporting sentence for a paragraph. Example paragraph, right? This is a paragraph on the Pirahana. Despite the fact that Pirahanas are relatively harmless, many people continue. So this means, I'll read out this paragraph and you tell me what this paragraph is about. Okay, what's the main idea that they're trying to? This is an example paragraph. This is how you write an example as a supporting sentence or sentences. But once I'm done with this, you tell me what this paragraph was actually talking about. Okay. So, despite the fact that piranhas are relatively harmless, many people continue to believe the pervasive myth that piranhas are dangerous to humans. This impression of piranhas is exacerbated by their mischaracterization in popular media. For example, the promotional poster for the 1978 horror film Piranha features an oversized piranha poised to bite the leg of an unsuspecting woman. Such a terrifying representation easily captures the imagination and promotes unnecessary fear. While the trope of the man eating piranhas lends excitement to the adventure stories, it bears little resemblance to the real life piranha. By paying more attention to fact than fiction, humans may finally be able to let go of this inaccurate belief. Okay, clearer? So, what is the example provided here? Of? The example is on the
Um,
The piranhas.
piranha,
discrimination.
right? On the piranhas. But what is the main point? So they use the example of the representation of piranhas, right? That's more
Ma'am,
accurate. But what is the paragraph about? Topic
discrimination.
is it discrimination? Okay. See more.
Discrimination.
Discrimination. It's more.
It can be superstition also. Like there are
No,
two
you
topics.
stay on the word discrimination because I know that's one that popped up somewhere here also. So discrimination of what? Or discrimination in what?
Racism,
No, no. Discrimination in what sense?
social,
Sorry?
social discrimination.
No, no, this is not about social discrimination, right? But there's some kind of discrimination here, or more than discrimination. What is this paragraph talking about?
Um, ma'am, there is a word mischaracterization.
A
I think it.
mischaracterization. Yes, mischaracterization or misrepresentation, right? So it's about how mischaracterization can lead to discrimination, right? That is the main topic that is being explored here. So um, people understand or people characterize piranhas as dangerous because of the mischaracterization of piranhas, not because they are inherently problem, right? That's the point. That's they're trying to say, and they give the example of the characterization or mischaracterization of piranha for that in the horror movies. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just give me a moment, guys. Okay. Um, so, is there any more example that I should be showing? to- We already looked at concluding sentence. Okay, so there's this one example which uh, cleanly distinguishes between the three structure that we looked at, right? So topic, it has all the three. It has topic sentence, supporting sentence, and concluding sentence. Okay. So can you look at the paragraph there? The beauty of studying. So it's a very small paragraph, and then each of their sections of the section of that paragraph has been divided into topic, supporting and concluding sentence so that you can see the difference clearly, okay, how it is done. So it's a very short paragraph, a simple one, so that I know like for some of you, this could be like a first kind of a, um, experience. So not use any complicated paragraph. You'll use the ones from where you can derive these things clearly. Okay, please read through and ask me if there's anything that you haven't understood in this context. Okay. Then we'll move on to the second part of the uh, workshop. Just checking in again, the voice and everything is audible, right? There's no problem in listening to me clearly. Yeah.
No.
No,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay.
It's audible
Okay.
clearly.
Okay. Okay. It's quite strange today. There's this construction everywhere. There's no point there where I can move out to. If you are not hearing any background noises, then I think the noise cancelling is working well.
Yes, ma'am. There is not any voice, background
There's no
noise
noise.
coming.
Yeah. Okay. So as long as it is just for me, I'm fine. But if you hear it, then that's a problem for me. Hey, please close the door. No, no, please, please. No, no, close the door. No, they're working outside. Close the door. Yeah. Sure. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Do you read through?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is that clear? Did you see how it is divided neatly into? So this is a neat paragraph. So, there's clarity to it. But in more denser textbooks, especially academic textbooks and all, this kind of distinction becomes a little difficult, right? So it won't be as neat as you have seen in these paragraphs that we've discussed. It could be a little convoluted in some ways, and that is also because they have a different purpose to serve, right? So this one is designed, the workshop is on basic writing skills. Otherwise, there are some structures that we wish to discuss. Usually we look at all of those, right? Some of those things that we discuss, particularly with respect to academic texts. But since your workshop is not of that nature, we're not getting into that. But for our purpose, I think this much should be enough. To start off, this is a good place to begin with. Okay. Anyone, any question? I heard something, but I don't know if it's in the chat or if someone has a question.
Someone was asking the meaning of turf. Turf.
Meaning of turf. Huh? What is a turf? Turf is a space, right? You don't know. Turf, do you not have turfs in your towns where you come from? People usually use it to, various kind of activities, not just one. Turf is a space. Okay, it's like a field. Could be an indoor field, it could be an outdoor field. That's a turf. But more broadly, it means a space. No? What else? What is Vishal? What is your question? It just said home ground. You were answering to that or what? Okay, fine. Okay, we'll move on. We'll go to the next part. So I'm going to close off this um, PPT. I'll go to the other slide. I'll be working. Where is it? Uh, workshop. Yeah. So this one was another example for the last batch. I used this one. But this is like a very childish example. So I thought I'll show you the one which you just saw because it was also neatly categorized. So we'll let this be. We'll go to the next slide. Let's move on. So some activity now. Okay. Let's do this one. So in each sentence below, identify the topic and the main idea. Okay. So you have uh, three sentences given here. In each of this, you will have to identify the topic and the main idea. Can we do that? The first sentence,
Yes, ma'am.
artificial intelligence with a written or oral interface is supposed to make our lives easier in future. Topic and the main idea.
Ma'am, artificial intelligence is the topic.
Topic is the artificial intelligence, and the idea is the using of that
Uh,
technology,
How
Idea is
it's making our life.
all interfaces.
okay. So artificial intelligence alone is not your topic. Artificial intelligence with a written or oral interface that also becomes a part of your topic, right? That is what you're dealing with. And then the rest of the part, right? That it is supposed to make our lives easier in future. This is the main idea, which means you're going to, in the rest of the paragraph, you're going to talk about how AI with written and oral interface will make people's life easier. Right? So that's the thing. Second one, the Victorian era is known for the galaxy of female novelists.
The Victorian era is the topic, and the galaxy of female
Uh-huh.
novelists is the main idea.
Victorian era is known for the galaxy of female novelists. Okay. So this one depends on what follows after this. So at this point, we really don't know if it is the Victorian era that is the topic or the galaxy of female novelists. Okay. Known for the galaxy, if I think we can currently go by Victorian era as your topic, and then is known for the galaxy of female novelists is expression of an opinion. That part as the main idea. Okay. Then the last one, object permanence is the ability to understand that an object still exists even when it can no longer be perceived in any way. Simple, this one is, right? What is the topic?
Object
Object
permanent.
permanent.
Object perm.
Object permanence, right? Object permanence is your topic, and the rest of it forms your main idea. All right. Now, again, same thing. You're asked to identify. Now, you know the topic sentence now, right? Now, you're asked to identify the supporting sentence and the concluding sentence for each of the sentences given below, right? Each of the paragraph given below. So you can go through. The first line, of course, is your topic sentence we just discussed. Now, you have another three sentences, and you're supposed to identify the supporting sentences and the concluding sentence among the three. Read through and let me know. A pretty easy paragraph.
Ma'am, the third sentence is the concluding sentence.
Third sentence is AI is not only used to give that one. Oh, sorry. Which one is the third sentence? The one without the topic sentence or with the topic sentence? Yes, what is your answer?
Third sentence,
Last one is the concluding
fourth
sentence.
one is concluded.
Fourth.
Yes, ma'am. Fourth one.
No, just tell me, read out the first few lines of the concluding sentence. It's easier that. Which one are you referring to? You're referring to it therefore seems or
Oh,
AI is not only used.
ma'am.
Ma'am,
AI
AI
is
is
not
not
only used.
used.
That's your concluding sentence?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But isn't it the other way around? Shouldn't it therefore be your concluding sentence? Because that sort of sums up what goes before that, right? Both innovative technologies, uh, that naturally leads from also features in far more complex scenarios such as online game and interactive toys with a language interface. Which one is more natural to this order? Okay, so we'll keep your answer. You say that the AI is not only is the concluding sentence. We'll see. We'll see what is the answer. So this is a fuller form of that article, right? So see this one. It has of course more sentences here. Which one is the more natural one? See, among the three that's given to you, this one is the natural one. But look at the sentences that go before it and see if you agree with the answer. See this part, up to this part. Okay. Does it show you the natural
Yeah.
flow? Why, it therefore seems natural to take advantage? Yeah? Because it's a sum up statement, right? It
Ye-
is literally summing up what goes before it, right? It talks about the innovative technology and how its use or how its advantage can be taken into even learning a language, right? Because that's where we began from. Look at the topic sentence with written or oral interface supposed to make our lives easier. So it's several examples of how it is making our life easier through supporting sentences. And finally, a conclusion which follows from the sentence that goes right before it, right? Which is AI is not only used to give a verbal command, but also features in far more complex scenarios, online games, interactive toys with a language interface, right? That's what it says. And then followed by it therefore seems natural to take advantage. So and so, right? There's a reason. There needs to be that flow. One sentence should lead to the other. It cannot be randomly pushed in between. Okay. This we'll discuss, when we're going to take up the next part of the workshop on unification and cohesion, unity and cohesion. We'll discuss this part, how this happens. But is the thing clear to you? Why we have chosen it, therefore, that sentence?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. No, okay. Now this one. Second question. Again, the same thing. Identify the supporting sentence and concluding sentence. Okay. Victorian era is known for the galaxy of female novelists. This could be a little bit confusing, but not really difficult also. So read through. So what is the order? If we count Charlotte Braun, that first sentence as the as number one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences, right? So you can just give me the order. Which one is the sentence that goes after that? Which one are the supporting sentences? First of all, is there a concluding sentence? This is a different kind of a paragraph, right? It's not like we are making a claim or anything. Does it have a concluding sentence?
No, ma'am.
No,
Any
ma'am.
sentence that, sort of restates? हाँ? यहाँ
No,
से निकल
ma'am.
जाना, ये खुला हुआ है यहाँ पे. बंद कर देना. नहीं नहीं, वो दूसरा वाला. ठीक. हाँ. Right. Which one is your concluding sentence? Do we have one?
No, ma'am. I don't.
No, right? So, I mean, you should have a sentence that restates, right? And reinforces. So, we do not have a sentence like that in this paragraph because we do not need it. It is not that kind of a paragraph. This is what I meant by not all paragraph is going to have a concluding sentence, but because some of them simply do not need it, right? So, this one doesn't have any concluding sentence, but that makes the plot a little, thicker, that all of the sentences you have here are now supporting sentences. Okay, all of them are supporting sentences. Got it? But then they're not actually in the right order for that matter. Okay. This is another exercise which you can do, but maybe not at this point. Okay. So at this level, the only thing you need to identify is that we don't have a concluding sentence here. Okay. Although not given in order, we just don't have a concluding sentence. So everything, all the 5 sentences you have here are essentially supporting sentences. Okay. But if you want, you may try the order. Can you tell me what goes next after the Victorian era is known for the galaxy of female novelists, so on and so forth?
Ma'am, is it 14523?
1, 4. It's certainly not 1 for Charlotte Bronte. Yeah, I think yes. Charlotte Bronte, Emily Bronte, Miss Gaskell, which are in prime focus. Okay. Then after that, second one would be they also include Mrs. Trollope, Mrs. Dore, Mrs. Marrow, Ray Henry, Charlotte Younger, Miss Oliphant, and Stillmore. That's the second one. Then after that,
The last one.
however, the 4
Of the
most
4.
important, right? Of the 4, and their methods. Okay, yeah, correct. Of the 4, the 2 first named were sister, and their methods and achievement as novelists met at many places. Correct. Followed by, however,
But
the 4 most
the
important. Right?
remaining.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, but each of the remaining 2 prized her own line and made herself in the field of English novel in her own way. Yes. And then the final one, however, the 4
The
most
however.
important methods. Okay. Now, the presence of the word however kind of gives a flavor of a concluding sentence, but this is not like a like a distinctive concluding statement, and that is because of the nature of this paragraph, right? There's nothing to conclude here. That's why. But if at all the question is, can you identify a concluding sentence, then maybe this, right? But it's not, please understand, it is not like the quintessential concluding sentence, right? It does not restate or it does not reinforce anything. It's just something like it just exists there. It's also again a supporting sentence, right? So yeah, that's the last sentence. This is the order of that, paragraph. Okay, we have it here. We're not going to read it again. Let it be there. We will move on to the object permanence. Oh, sorry, I showed you the answer. Okay. Object permanence is the ability to understand that an object still exists even when it can no longer be perceived in any way. Okay, this is the topic sentence. You have just 2 other sentences. You just need to identify if you have a concluding sentence. If you have one, then which one would that be? Or do you just have supporting sentence? Okay, do we have a concluding sentence again in this case?
No, ma'am.
No.
No, right? No. So
No.
both the sentences you have are supporting sentences, and ideally the last one, the concept of object permanence, should come first, followed by according to Piaget. Of course, this is a part of a longer essay kind of thing in a textbook, so it may not look like a perfect paragraph for that reason, because it's just an excerpt that you have pulled out from a larger piece of work, right? That's why. Okay, all right. So this thing is that, and now we are going to move to unity and cohesion. So session 2, the second part of the workshop, which is on unity and cohesion. And once we are done with this, we'll break for 10 minutes, okay? And then we'll come back. Unity and cohesion in paragraphs and strategies for writing an effective paragraph. So we are done with the development part of paragraph, right? And now we are moving on to the unity and cohesion in paragraphs and the strategies for writing an effective paragraph. Okay, ready? So two concepts mostly. Once you look at the development of the paragraph, right? Once you have all the three components to build a paragraph, the next thing that you need to know, these are two techniques, like unlike your topic sentence, supporting sentence or concluding sentence, these have both physical as well as abstract uh, concepts associated with it. So unity and cohesion, this is actually saying, and actually, if you think about it, this is basically they're techniques that you utilize in order to build an effective paragraph. But of course, it has its tangible, identifiable features also in the form of linguistic features. So, which means you're going to use language or linguistic features in order to achieve unity and cohesion. Understood? So let's look at what the unity and cohesion is then, right? What is this idea? What is this technique of unity and why is it important? So first point is on unity. What is unity? Unity refers to the factor, right? That one idea in your paragraph towards which every other aspects, every other points, reasons, statistics, example, quote, claims, everything points towards. So whatever else you write in the paragraph, no matter how much ever content you add to the paragraph, all of that points towards that one thing. Or ideally, if I'm supposed to speak about it in the terms of a technique, then I'll rephrase my sentence to say that unity is something, or it is a technique in which we ensure that each of the components, and by components we mean the topic sentence, supporting sentence, concluding sentence, each of these components must be tied to each other and provide for a wholesome idea. Right? Unity is that technique by which all of the components get tied to each other to provide a wholesome idea. Okay, so unity then is an idea, is that particular, physically talking about it in the terms of a sentence, it is that particular idea in that sentence or that phrase or word in the sentence to which every other sentence in the paragraph is tied to, right? Right, every other sentence should be tied to. Okay, and as a concept, unity is about ensuring that all the components of the paragraph present point towards one single idea. As a concept, it is that, and as a technique, it is that one sentence towards which every other sentence in the paragraph is tied to. Okay, you understand the concept and technique difference. If someone asks you what is the concept of unity, first sentence is your answer on the slide, right? It's the concept wherein all the components of which says that all the components of a paragraph point towards a single idea. If people ask you what is the technique you use to do that, then the second one, right? The sentence. You write that one sentence to which all the other sentence points towards. Every other sentence is tied to that one sentence, right? That is how you ensure. And how do you do that in a paragraph? If you have followed the class well, which is that one sentence to which everything else points towards? We just discussed in the previous session. Which component is that? Among the three topics, supporting and concluding, which is that sentence?
The concluding part.
With the concluding sentence, is it towards that which everything else is tied to? Conclusion is just restating,
No,
right?
ma'am.
It's topic sentence. Topic sentence, right? It is that sentence which ensures the unity of the paragraph. right? As a technique, you employ the concept of topic sentence to ensure this unity. It's to fulfill this unity concept that you write a topic sentence, right? Okay, now cohesion. Cohesion is another very important idea. It's important as an idea, and it's also important again as a technique, right? So you again use linguistic techniques to ensure cohesion within a paragraph and between paragraphs if we are talking about longer texts. But what is cohesion, right? What is coherence? That's an important question I would like to know from you. What is coherence? Have you heard this word before? Coherence. Coherence. No, have never come across this thing. So coherence is the concept, right? So cohesion is more like a technique. Coherence is the concept. And what is this concept? Coherence is the logical and the thematic unity of a text. So it basically talks about the continuity, logical continuity in writing. That is called coherence. Even in speaking, not just writing, coherence can be applicable to both the activity of speaking and writing, and by default also thinking. So you'll see the word coherence associated more with thinking, coherent thinking, right? What is coherent thinking? It's logical, right? Logical, uh, unified thinking, continuous, right? Something that follows a logical continuity, something that shows logical ordering and continuity is called coherent, right? So coherent thinking, coherent speaking, writing all refers to the same thing, right? Logical flow of thoughts. Logical flow of thoughts is what is referred to as coherence. Okay. There are theories against it. People would say that even chaotic thinking can produce logical results, but we're not getting into those debates. As far as the technique is concerned, or as far as the concept is considered in writing, coherence is the aspect of ensuring that there is a logical flow, there's a logical continuity in your writing from one sentence to the next sentence and from one paragraph to the next paragraph, right? There should be a continuous flow of ideas. It should not look scrambled or jumbled, right? It should not be like, your first information went last and your last information went first. Everything is jumbled, people are not able to make sense. Right? That shouldn't be the case. Your first should go first, the next should come next, the one after that should come after that, the last should go last. So this is a logical flow of your thoughts, right? That's coherence. Cohesion is basically connected with the use of grammatical or lexical components, that is grammar and words in a language, in order to ensure that this flow is maintained, right? To hold the sentence and the paragraph together, right? So we have several devices that we use for that. And one of that is called a transition device or a signposter, right? That's what we're going to look at in the next slide. So is this point clear, or do you want me to go over it again? Unity and cohesion, right? Unity is about maintaining the unity of the paragraph by ensuring that there's only one idea that is represented in the paragraph and that all the sentences in the paragraph is tied together to that one idea, ideally represented in the topic sentence of the paragraph. Clear? Any doubts there? Unity? Yes, no? Are we here? Are we gone?
No, ma'am.
Yeah? Yeah?
No.
Clear? No or yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm clear.
Okay. And cohesion, what is cohesion? Logical flow, that you ensure that your order, your narration or your description is not jumbled, right? It follows, one follows from the other. And it's not like, the case we saw in the previous exercise, right? Where the order was jumbled and, it was difficult to make sense of what goes next. So this is about ensuring logical continuity of the idea presented, right? And cohesion, particularly, is when you use linguistic elements, lexicons, words, and grammatical structures to hold your sentence together or hold your paragraph together, right? That part is called cohesion. Both are important to ensure that you write an effective paragraph, right? Now we're going to look at strategies for unification. How can you ensure that your paragraph has this one, the first concept, unity. How do you ensure unity in your paragraph? What strategies do you use? First thing that you do, repeat the keywords, right? Remember from the one of the previous slides, I told you to identify the main idea or the topic of the paragraph. What do? You look at words or phrases that are repeated often in the paragraph, right? That tells you what the paragraph is about. So same thing that is now used as a strategy. When you read to identify the topic, you have to identify what are the phrases and words that are repeated. When you write, you ensure that you repeat these words so that the reader knows that this is the main idea or topic that is under discussion. Right? Same thing. You're just reversing it from the perspective of the writer now. Initially, we were looking at it from the perspective of the reader. Now we are looking at it from the perspective of the writer. When you write, how do you construct, right? So repeat the keywords. How do you repeat the keywords? You repeat the keywords now. This is an important thing. Look at point number. Okay, is it not in this one? Just a second. Okay. I think that I did not include that point here, but when you're repeating the keywords, there's another thing that you can use, because in writing, repetition of key phrases sometimes can look a little redundant, right? People may not like it when you repeat the same words over and over again. So if that is a problem, what you should do is you should figure out a phrase or uh, a word that is synonymous in use to the word that you're trying to repeat, right? This is not something that you should be strictly doing. If you're okay repeating the words, then you can do that. But some people, they like adding more variety to how they write, and hence they prefer using words or phrases that mean same, right? Mean have similar flavors of meaning. So they find appropriate synonymous words or phrases so that this redundancy from repetition is avoided, right? That it doesn't sound boring. So people do that. But again, this is uh, this is usually when you're writing, say, a single paragraph, right? Because if it's a longer essay, then obviously you have no choice. You will have to use more variety of language to express it. But in single standalone paragraphs, this could run into a bit of a trouble. That's why people prefer using synonymous expressions, right? So repeating the keywords could include both the repetition of the keyword or repeating something that is synonymous with the keyword. Okay. So that's one strategy you use. So by doing that, repeating it, you are, you're pushing the reader to see what is the main point under discussion. Then second thing is signposting the sentences using transitional words. Now this is a very important device, right? For cohesion. The second thing, how do you ensure cohesion and unity? Use of transitional devices or transitional words. Okay. What do transitional words help you to do? They help you to add contrast. Remember when we were looking at that paragraph on uh, reasons, that bogeyman paragraph, remember? So you, was it bogeyman or, I think in bogeyman paragraph only you had an expression which said in contrast. Remember that? So these kind of expressions are called transition devices. What do transition devices do? As the name suggests, what does it suggest us? It indicates a transition. It shows a change in the direction. So if the author wishes to continue in the direction of his or her argument, then they will use transition devices that are used to add or elaborate, right? If they want to change, say for example, they were talking about the benefits of quitting smoking, right? And then they want to add some other cautions. They add something, maybe a slight advantage of what it is, then they're changing the direction, right? So from supporting or from going against it, now they are trying to like add a point of support to it. So it's a change in the direction of writing. So to indicate that change in the direction, just like you have signposts on the road, right? What do we have the signposts on the road for? To alert the driver or to alert the people on the road, the pedestrians, to tell them that there's a pedestrian crossing ahead, or there's a school ahead, or there is some other kind of important landmark ahead, right? So similarly, you use transition devices in the language in order to tell the reader, okay, next you are going to read a different thing about the topic. Next, you're going to read something more about what has been written in the top. I'm going to add a contrast. I'm going to add more to this, or I'm going to elaborate on what I said, or I'm going to conclude. So when you say in short, or therefore, or however, this is a transition device. It's a transition word telling the reader now that they have come to the end of the article or end of the paragraph, right? Or when you're saying the first reason or another reason or the third reason, when you're using this kind of a transition device, you're basically indicating the telling the reader that you're still reading about the reasons, that more reasons are being added to it, right? So this is a very simple concept. I'll show you examples of transitional devices in a while. So both repetition of key phrases, so the first and the second, right? Point here, repetition of key phrases and transition device. What do? They help in establishing links between the sentences, right? So from one sentences to the next, it acts as a bridge to connect these two sentences and thus ensure a logical flow of ideas, right? So this can either happen from one sentence to the other sentence within a paragraph. It can also happen in a longer text or an essay. The same thing is done to link one paragraph to the next paragraph also. So it has both functions. Okay. But the only thing is, do not repeat the transitional words too often. Again, same thing, right? Like I told you about the first case, that do not repeat the keywords too often. Instead, use something that's synonymous to it. Same way, do not repeat the transitional words too often because of redundancy, right? Sometimes people have a habit of using them way too much. And that brings in that redundancy factor, irrelevance, right? People read it and it's like, why is this being repeated again and again, right? This sounds irrelevant here. So to avoid that kind of redundancy issues, do not use them too much. Okay? Only use them when you absolutely require them to be used. Okay, some examples of signposting. So signposting, that means signposting also means transitional device, right? So you signpost using transitional devices in the language. Either you can use single words like the example here, consequently, however, although, furthermore, moreover, firstly, lastly, next, right? Or you use phrases in contrast to, on the other hand, in short, to conclude, right? Or sometimes even whole sentences or clauses. So look at this one. Having looked at the advantages of wearing a mask, the study will verify how long can they be used without ill effects. So this is an example sentence. Which part in this is your transition device? In this whole sentence, can you tell me? Which part in this whole sentence acts as your transition device or something that helps you in signposting? Can you tell me? Try to look at it closely. Having looked at the advantages of wearing a mask, the study will verify how long can they be used without ill effects. Which part of that sentence acts as the transition device that you use to signpost?
Having
The
looked,
study will verify.
Sorry, come again.
having looked,
Having looked, what?
I'm saying like
Hmm.
first the advantage of
I
wearing mask.
got it. I got it. I'm asking you to say it entirely because see, it's not just having looked. That whole part, that whole clause. That's why it says whole sentence or clause. Okay. In this case, that whole clause. Having looked at the advantages of wearing a mask. Okay. And I don't have the paragraph associated with it. But if I had that paragraph, I would have shown you how that whole sentence can also act as a transition device. Actually, just give me a moment. Let me see if I can recover it from somewhere online. I'll post it in your chat in case I get it. Oh, sorry. But in the given sentence, that first part, no, having looked at the advantages of wearing a mask, that clause acts as uh, your transition device, the signposting part. But from what I remember, if I'm not wrong, this was a this whole sentence acted as a transition device to a paragraph. But I unfortunately don't have that paragraph with me. Let me see if I'm able to recover it. If I get it, I will show it to you. Okay. Just a second. I think I'll have to use a double quotes. It is from it's from a study that was conducted by the National Center for Biotechnology Information. I got the article, but I do not know where exactly this is located. Surprisingly, for we analyze why some experimental also we consider a sample in the section. Okay. Okay, I'll let you know when I figure that out because it's a really long article. Oh, zero matches. Okay, okay. I'll show it to you if I'm able to find out that article from where I've taken this. But for to your information, this one again is a possibility, right? Sometimes you can use the whole sentence or the clause also as a transition, uh, device or a signposting, just like you use short phrase and single words, right? So that's your example. Then a few more examples based on what you want to do in the paragraph. So if you want to add more ideas, then some of the expressions you could use again. Furthermore, in addition, moreover, remember that this is not an exhaustive list. Okay, so this one doesn't list all the possible transition devices in the language. It's not possible for me to do that. Neither are the instances exhaustive, nor are the examples with them exhaustive, right? So this instances of addition, like to add more, to compare, you can have more of that. And the examples under each of those instances also definitely are far more than what I've included. My idea was just to show you that these things exist, not to give you like a full list of this, because full list of it is not possible. People invent their own signposts also, right? It's also possible. But this is just to give you an idea of how these things work. Okay. So to compare or contrast ideas, you use words like alternatively, contrastingly, conversely, whereas, or even some uh, um phrasal or clausal expressions also, like in contrast. Okay, on the other hand, right? These are all examples of phrasal signposts for comparing and contrasting. Then to prove something, evidently for this reason, because inevitably, to show exceptions again, however, nevertheless, yet in spite of, repeat or refer back to something, show that you will include something later, emphasizing something, definitely, obviously, inevitably, giving an example to show the order of things, right? Previously, following this, initially, firstly, lastly, next, right? These are all examples of that. All of such expressions, they are called transition devices, right? All of them are used to signpost, indicate the turn in your writing, indicate the direction of your writing to the author, to the reader, sorry. Okay. So you all can maybe I said by 4:30. It's 4:33 now. So we'll restart around 4:45 then. Okay, because I think I also need to recharge my laptop a little bit. So you can go on for a break. Please come back and join by 4:45. Okay. If you're not going anywhere, remain logged in. We'll resume the session at 4:45. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just okay. I'll be back by 4:45. You also be here by 4:45. Okay, welcome back everyone. Is everyone back?
Yes, ma'am.
Almost everyone's here. Okay, so we'll start this one again. We'll resume the. I'm slightly looking at what my pace is so that I can decide whether I should give you the questions or should I. Okay, so that's one question and then free writing. Okay, so which means I will go on with the explanation part first. Example, occupation. Nothing here that I wish to show. No, okay, so I can close this then. Okay, right. So we come back to free writing exercise in a moment. And that's something that you will have to do by the end of the session. But before that, I would like to talk to you about the final part, right? So we first dealt with the development of paragraph part and how to write an effective paragraph. The second part, we dealt with the strategies to writing an effective paragraph, and mainly we looked at two concepts. We looked at the concepts of unity and cohesion. We looked at the strategies that one can employ in writing an effective paragraph, right? So that is as in to ensure that there is both unity and cohesion in our paragraph, right? We looked at the transition devices, right? Now we're going to look at the major focus, that is descriptive writing. Now for this workshop, I have decided to and just explain the rationale behind why I chose the descriptive type of paragraph for this, right? So I don't want to um, wanted to include other kinds like the narrative paragraphs and all that, because if you know how to do the descriptive writing, descriptive paragraph, then you're more or less learning every other technique in that, right? So any description usually will include all kind of things, right? All kind of styles. It will have narration. It will use multiple patterns of organization, right? So there'll be spatial arrangement. I don't know if you've observed one of the uh, points that we had in this one, not this one, in unity and cohesion, the last point. Can you take a look at that? So to ensure logical continuity, you can also arrange information spatially, temporally, chronologically to direct the reader's mind, which means you have some information which you're technically coding in the paragraph style, right? So you have an idea, then you brainstorm, you get something, you gather few more supporting ideas which can support your main claim or your main idea, right? That's what you do in a paragraph, right? So while you gather this information and you want to present it in a paragraph, you can choose a pattern, can, consider a certain pattern to arrange this piece of information. So that arrangement can either happen in a spatial format, right? Or in a temporal format or a chronological format or simply in a sequential format, right? You can even use compare or contrast method of arrangement, right? If comparison is the main point of your paragraph, you can show a cause and effect relationship between the claim and the support that you supporting sentences in your paragraph. You can use classification or classificatory mode or explanatory mode. So there are several patterns that are possible to arrange the information that you have. That's your choice. And also the matter at hand will decide what kind of pattern you will use to arrange that information, right? So all of this part, that's organization of the information, all these kinds of organization of information is possible in a descriptive paragraph, right? So it's the most basic kind of a type of a paragraph. When you're describing something, uh, one of the patterns that I just talked about, or all of the patterns, or a mix of these patterns are possible within a descriptive paragraph. So that's the reason why I chose this one, right? If I'm choosing a narrative paragraph, then mostly um, the pattern of arrangement is going to be either sequential or chronological in nature, right? It's because it's storytelling. So we miss out on the other kinds of patterns of organization. So if it is descriptive, then we can have paragraphs where each of these or at least some of them can be introduced to you. That's the reason why I chose descriptive. Okay. So that's the rationale behind why descriptive paragraph and not other kinds. And in the descriptive writing, mostly we're going to focus on three things here. One is the structure. So how does a descriptive paragraph look? What is the structure of a descriptive paragraph? Particularly here we are looking at the patterns, right? Of course, we know the basic skeleton is the topic sentence, supporting sentences, and the concluding sentence. But what more is applicable to structuring a descriptive writing or descriptive paragraph is what the first part on structure will tell us. Second is on the language, right? If I'm writing a descriptive paragraph, how will my language look like? What will my language will? What would be the what would be the kind of linguistic elements or what are those elements from the English language that will make, uh, most appearances? What are those which will make most of the appearances in terms of language in descriptive paragraph? Then the strategies, of course, how to write an effective descriptive paragraph, right? So these three things we'll take a look at. And then finally, for the free writing, we are going to employ the structure language strategies that we discussed for descriptive paragraph and employ that for the free writing exercise that you do. Okay, so that's the plan. Now, a little bit on the content, language, and style of descriptive writing. So, what do you see in a descriptive paragraph or in descriptive writing, so as to speak, right? So, the content part of the descriptive paragraph or writing is mostly about either an object, right? Something, right? Or a person, somebody, or someplace, right? Usually object, person, place, right? This is what most of the descriptive paragraph is about. It either it describes an object or a person, place, right? And because this is the case, because it's a description of the aforementioned, entities of object, person, and place, it is something. The content is usually something that appeals to our senses, right? Senses including what we can see, what we can smell, what we can taste, touch, feel. Anything that is appealing to our senses becomes a part of the content, becomes a part of the content of the, the descriptive form of writing. Okay. And why do you do that? Why do you appeal to the senses? The reason being, giving this is to give an experiential, form, to build an experiential form of writing, or what you see on the screen, to give a picturesque experience. What does picturesque experience mean again? Connect these two things, right? The point that goes before it, that it appeals to your senses, and appealing to your senses gives you a picturesque experience. What does that mean? Picturesque experience, what does it mean? If you say something is picturesque, what is the meaning of that?
So that we can imagine and feel it.
Yes, exactly. So you can experience more than imagine. Yes, imagination is one point. When you say something is picturesque, you're trying to say that it's something that you can visually experience, right? It's not actually there. Okay? You may not have it actually in front of you to touch or feel, but then you're able to experience as if it was like a picture in front of you, as if the visuals were in front of you, as if you were there, right? If it is about a place that we are talking about, then we're talking about, feeling like you've already reached that place, right? Although you are physically remote from that environment. That's a picturesque experience. So any form of writing that appeals to your writing, your senses, provides you with this picturesque experience, right? And descriptive content, descriptive writing or paragraph, usually it thrives on, or its success thrives on this kind of writing. Okay, so the content is going to be mostly picturesque, something that builds on picturesque experience, something that appeals to your senses. Okay. Then about the language. So the word choice, if if you're supposed to explain, if you're supposed to describe an object, place, or person, ideally, description. What will a descriptive language usually require in terms of, lexical and grammatical components? Of course, the modifiers, right? You will have to use a lot of modifiers, and by modifiers, I mean adjectives and adverbs, right? And adjectives and adverbs not just as words, so they could either be adjective adverb phrases or they could be adjectival adverbial clauses also, right? So it could be a shorter unit, like a single word adjective or an adverb. It could be a phrase, a phrasal adjective or adverb. It could also be a whole clause like adjective or adverb. So whatever the case, both the modifiers, both adjectives and adverbs will be found in abundance in this kind of writing. Is that clear? Okay. So as far as the language part is concerned, word choice, of course, is specific. Word choice is specific to the topic means, of course, when you have decided upon what you have to write, you will have to zero down on some of the expressions that is applicable or suitable for your topic, right? So that's what word choice means here. And modifiers, of course, refers to the adverbs and adjectives. You might have to use them in abundance because you're going to write a description of something, right? So descriptions always will require use of heavy use of modifiers, adjectives and adverbs. And style refers to what tone you adopt when you're writing. Are you going to adapt a critical tone of writing? Are you going to adapt an intellectual tone of writing? Are you going to use a sarcastic tone and an ironic tone? Choice of your tone, of course, depends on your audience and the purpose you're writing for, right? If it's a more serious kind of a thing, right, like a formal writing or professional writing, then of course you cannot use ironic or sarcastic tone. You'll have to keep it more intellectual or more critical in its approach, right? If it is more lighter in nature, if your audience is, say, not someone who say you have children as your audience, right? Or if you're in a platform that is not meant for serious talks, okay? So something like an informal session. Then, of course, the tone will be one can play around with the tone, right? You can keep it more jovial, you can keep it more humoristic. Um, say you are writing a social media post, right? If it's a fun post, obviously it's going to take up that kind of a style, and right? No, if you are upset about something, you're trying to educate people on something, then of course your tone changes, right? So style definitely depends on the purpose as well as the target audience, right? And all of this also then contributes in turn to the language you use, the word choice you make, right? All of that. So this is a general part on the descriptive writing, what all you can expect in terms of content and or what all is expected from you as a writer in the construction of a descriptive paragraph. Now, descriptive paragraphs or descriptive writing organization is similar to anything else, right? No matter what your paragraph style is, whether it is descriptive or narrative or opinion or textual, whatever it is, this is going to be the basic skeleton of organization. What is it? First one, the first stage is, of course, brainstorming for the ideas, right? You write down the aspects you would like to describe. What is it that you wish to describe? So if it is, say, I want to write about, what do I say? If I want to write about a book that was gifted to me, right? So if that is what I'm planning to write about, I'm describing this book that has been gifted to me. Then I have to jot down a few important points about it, right? I cannot write whatever I want. Not every aspect of the book is important. There would be certain things that has touched the chord with me. The reasons why I thought the book was important. So when I sit down to brainstorm, I write those important aspects so that my writing becomes easier, right? And it doesn't become chaotic, and I don't write irrelevant things or things that do not add value to my writing. So first part, when you're brainstorming, you're going to write down the aspects that you wish to describe or which you think is more relevant to your writing. Then once that is done, this part is very important because this is what is going to guide you to the next stage, the next step, which is the vocabulary, right? So vocabulary or word choice, what tone and register, what kind of words should I choose to build my paragraph depends on what I want to write in the paragraph. Only when I have zeroed down, when I have brainstormed on what is important for me to write, can I make a choice of the vocabulary and the words and phrases and tone and register that I want to use. So one follows from the other. Once these two steps are done, then you go to the outline. A lot of people, what they do is the first thing they would do is like do an outline. They go the other way around. Okay, they look at the outline and then they go to the idea, then come to the words. That's not the ideal way of doing it. You need to first brainstorm, zero down on the vocabulary that you would wish to use, jot it down roughly, and then go to the outline. So prepare the content first and then fit it to that outline. Don't make the outline and then fit the content into it, right? That is not a very productive exercise as far as descriptive writing is concerned, or any form of writing is concerned, right? Zero down on your project first, zero down on what you want to write first, decide on that, have a clarity on that, make a note of all of those things, and then fit them into the timeline. Do not go the other way around. Do not look at the outline, make it, this is my outline and now I will fit my content to it. No, your content should not be fit to the outline. Your outline should fit to the content that you want to write, right? That's how you should be, that's the method you make your writing effective. So in the outline, you will structure the ideas. So you already have the ideas. So this is under the assumption that I have my ideas. Now I will structure my ideas in the outline. Okay. You structure the ideas and you organize them in the logical order for the outline. That is called outline. Okay. Outlining does not mean that, you make introduction and then body and then conclusion. That's not outlining. Outlining is basically giving a structure to the ideas that you already have. Keep this part in mind. So ideas first. Ideas go first. The accumulation of of the entities that would help you explain your ideas go first, not the structure. Structure should not dominate your writing. Structure should only help you in phrasing your writing well. That's all. Okay. A lot of people commit this error. They give a lot of importance. They prioritize the structure and try to fit things in that. But that's not how good writers do it. Okay. They have their content first, they have their ideas first, and then they give it an outline. Okay. So this is one part I wanted to say. Outline, I think you already know. Now, this is the outline of the paragraph, not the outline of your ideas. This previous outline is different from the outline in the slide. This outline is for the paragraph outline, which we already discussed, right? So you have your topic sentence. In the case of descriptive paragraphs, you usually introduce the object, place, person. You write your opinion or feeling about it. So that ticks off your topic sentence part. And in the supporting sentences, you could, these are all, just pointers. Of course, it does not have to be strictly what I have written on my slides. You can, of course, play around with the structure a little bit. So usually if you look at descriptive sentences, you will see this. There's background information, descriptive details, additional or more details which would help you support the claim, and then your concluding sentence. Okay. Yeah. Anybody, any question? I thought someone wanted to ask anything. Anybody? No? Okay. Fine. So, yeah, now I'm going to talk about a few things. These are not absolutely important, but I think this should help at least few of you, right? So what all things can you primarily consider when you are describing people, when you're describing, one second, object and also places, right? So three things, since we discussed about descriptive writing being about describing people, place, things. So few aspects on each of them, on people, place, and things, description of people, place, and things. This again, I'm just giving you a few pointers on what all you can include. This is again they are not hard and fast rules. These are all just, some points that you could keep in mind while you're writing descriptions, right? So for people, usually, I think these questions that we have here may be helpful for you while you're writing descriptions. So first thing is, of course, appearance, right? How does he or she look like? You can describe this appearance both in whole and parts. So either you can talk about the person's physical appearance as a whole, or you can refer to the different parts of the physical appearance, right? Like, for example, you can talk about their build, okay? Or you can talk about the height or hair or other features like eye, face, nose, skin, hands, right? Any of this individually or all of it in totality as a whole as a physical appearance is possible. But one of the points that you cannot ignore while you're descriptively writing about a person is their physical appearance, right? There should be at least a sentence or two on that, okay? Whether you decide to continue writing in detail about the physical appearance definitely depends on the breadth and length and the purpose of your writing. But at least a word or at least a sentence or two certainly has to be included, if not at length. Okay. So that's the first thing. First thing that you should think about is physical appearance. Now, some examples, you can go through these examples on screen. These examples are based on, you know, what you could write about people's build, height, hair, etc. Just few examples, right? Just to show you the breadth of vocabulary also, right? This is one part where you need to really up your vocabulary game, you know. You can't keep it really general, especially if you're going to be writing about it in specific details, right? So if you're using specific details, then you should also have the specific word choice that would justify that. So look at some of these examples here. Build. She had a slender, almost fragile frame, as if a strong wind might carry her away. So look at this. There's also metaphorical, infusions in this. He was broad shouldered and muscular, the kind of build that came from years of manual work. Height, she was petite, barely reaching 5 feet, but carried herself with such confidence that she seemed taller. He towered above everyone. So instead of saying he was the tallest, you say towered above everyone else in the room. His head nearly brushing the door frame. Right? Look at the construction of these phrases. Right? Her hair was a cascade of golden curls that caught the afternoon sunlight. Jet black hair was cropped short, with a rebellious lock always falling over his forehead. So, what do you see? You see the abundant use of adverbs, abundant use of adjectives that could very clearly describe each feature, right? Her hazel eyes. What kind of eyes? A different kind of eyes. So, you should ideally, if you're writing about physical appearances, you should have a good knowledge of the vocabulary associated with each of this, right? So in this case, eyes, hazel eyes, sparkled with mischief, always hinting at an untold story. Face was angular, right? Sharp cheekbones and a jawline you could almost cut paper on. Small upturned nose. Look at that, look at that detail, upturned nose. His sun-browned skin. Okay, what do we know? We only know fair, dark, and medium. That this is the only complexion we are aware of. Look at that. Sun-browned skin, sun-tossed skin. Guys, her hands were small but strong, calloused from years of working with clay. Calloused hand, right? So move beyond, big, small, strong, short. Move beyond your casual, regular adjectives. Use more sharper, more specific modifiers while you're describing. His thin lips curled into a half smile could mean anything, nothing at all. Okay, so uh, make sure you're using specific descriptions. Do not keep it a very, very casual and very generic in nature, right? This is picturesque, right? When someone writes like this, you could almost, like she said, Varshini mentioned, you can imagine, you can have a visual experience of this when someone says angular face, okay, or lips curled into a half smile, right? Calloused hands, angular face, hazel eyes. You can imagine, you can have a visual experience of it. And this kind of writing is called descriptive writing. Okay, so you need to be very careful with your word choice, such case. Then, of course, next thing, so once you're done with the physical experience for the description of a person, of course, the next thing that you go on to is the adjectives that can describe them negatively or positive, right? So in certain cases, maybe, using of negative adjectives would be little limited. So you might have, even if you have to express the negative parts, you will have to negative points or characteristics, you will have to use an indirect language. Maybe you cannot directly use a bad adjective, you will have to find a way around it to say it, right? So like this example, right? When you say hands, her hands were small but strong, calloused from years of. So calluses, you know what they are, right? So calluses immediately is not giving it a negative tone, although what you're saying is that the skin or the hands had some cracks, skin was cracked, right? That's what you're trying to say. But instead of putting it that way too directly, you could use something like a calloused, or you can use a word like her hands or the skin looked worn off from years of manual labor, right? All of this you could use. So in certain situations, when you're not able to use the negative adjectives directly, you can use more positive or more indirect ways, or use indirect adjective to express the same idea. Right? That's also possible. Adjective order, very important. So once you're done with your writing, I'll ask you to do the same thing with you. Adjective order, what is adjective order? when you write descriptively, right? You, of course, use more than one adjective to describe sometimes, right? Sometimes you need more adjective to describe a particular entity or a person or place, right? So when more than one adjectives are clustered together, they appear in an order. They cannot appear in random order. There's an order to that, and this is that order. So if, say, for example, you have an adjective of opinion, an adjective of origin, and an adjective of shape, then the first in the order will be the the adjective of opinion, then the one of shape, and then the one of origin, right? Let's look at an example. I'll leave it in the chat for you. Let me give you a few options here and see. Let me see if you can answer this. Let me put this: bridal, Banarasi, brocade, silk. Okay, so brocade is not a adjective. Let me remove that. Soft. I put soft. Okay. So look at these 4 words here in your chat. There's bridal, there's Banarasi, there's silk, and there's soft, right? All of them are adjectives. So if you look at the adjective order on the screen here, what do you think would be the what would be the right order of putting this? In what order will this appear in the writing? Bridal, Banarasi, silk, and soft, right? All of them are adjectives. And I want to use it, say, with the noun brocade. So what will be the order in which it appears? Look at the screen, you have the adjective order there. Tell me what order will you choose? Try to answer.
Soft, Banarsi, silk, bridal.
Banarasi, silk, bridal. Okay. Okay. Do one thing. Can you write it down in the chat? People inside, I think it will be better to answer it in writing than saying. Yeah. So, okay, some people say soft Banarasi bridal silk. Okay. Bridal Banarasi, soft silk, soft Banarasi, silk bridal. So, okay. So we have all combinations available now. Okay, can we identify? So if you're looking at the answers, can we look at what is bridal? What is bridal? Among the adjective groups that are given here, what is it? Is it size, opinion, age, material, origin? What is that?
Origin.
Bridal is origin. Bridal?
Bridal is purpose.
No. Bridal is purpose. Okay, type or purpose. Yeah, one of those. We can say it is purpose or type. Yeah. And what is Banarasi? That is
Origin.
Origin, right? It's origin. What is silk?
Material.
Material. Soft. What is soft?
Type.
Type.
Oh,
Type.
sorry.
Soft is what? Soft, no, not type. Soft is not type.
Opinion.
It can be, but in this case, it is not that. It is what? It's more like a quality or opinion of that, right? It's like saying new. You say something is new, something is old. What you're giving an opinion about it also in some sense, right? Because here we already have the type. No, type is already bridal, so it cannot be double. So this one, among the two, soft is more like an opinion. So if you look at in the order, someone has answered opinion. Okay. So what would be the order then? First goes opinion. So opinion here was soft. So soft goes first. Following that would be, what is it?
Origin.
Shape, origin.
Origin.
So you have Banarasi, right? Soft Banarasi, then followed by material, right? You have silk, right? Then followed by the type, which is bridal, right? So soft Banarasi silk bridal brocade or sari, whatever it is. Soft Banarasi silk bridal brocade or bridal sari, right? So when you have more than one, do you want me to leave it here? I think you've understood it, right? I don't have to write it. But still, I'll write soft Banarasi silk bridal sari or brocade. Okay. Sari brocade being the noun. So when you have more than one adjectives, the adjective will have to follow a certain order, right? And that order is based on the adjective order you see on screen. First goes opinion, then size, then shape, then age, origin, material type, and then purpose eventually. Okay. So this one you need to ensure, since descriptive writing is going to use a lot of adjectives and chain adjectives, clustered together, the order becomes important, right? Okay, then additional things that you can write about in description, you can write about what you know of the person, what do you know, or if you want, you can talk about the relationship, where did you meet, or how long you have known each other, so on and so forth. Okay, so these are additional details. The more important ones are the physical appearance and then the good and the bad qualities part. And in the negative one, you need to ensure if it doesn't allow, if the situation or the audience or the occasion doesn't allow you to use that kind of negative expressions, then you can talk about them in the indirect. Got it? Now, okay, here are some examples for you to understand how this is done. Like, look at this one. What is the person like? So it's about positive adjectives, right? She's warm-hearted, always ready to help others without expecting anything. So warm-hearted. Then dependable. Then last one, she's imaginative with a knack of turning ordinary moments into adventures, right? Negative adjectives, indirect language. Sometimes he can be a little impatient when things don't go his way. So you can also hedge it, right? Hedging basically means softening, right? So instead of saying he can be impatient, you say he can be a little impatient, right? So a little is softening it. You're adding some kind of a softening element. You're hedging it, right? Hedging is also one kind of putting things indirectly, and it's used very commonly in formal writing. Little impatient, right? She tends to be a bit forgetful. Look at that, a bit forgetful. So instead of saying she tends to be forgetful, you say a bit forgetful. Okay. Again, forgetful, impatient, all of them being what? Negative adjectives, right? At times he can come across as overly critical, even when he means well, right? Means well. She has a tendency to dominate conversations without realizing it. So now this is done in a different way. So the last two sentences, you're using clause as a hedger, even when he means well. So you're putting in another part to soften it a bit, right? Even when he means well. In the last sentence, it is without realizing it, right? Tendency to dominate conversations without realizing. So hedging is one technique that people use for indirect um, language. Hedging is simply using terms or phrases that can soften your otherwise negative or harder, you know, uh, characterizations. Okay, adding details not required. Now, describing things and objects, again, same thing. Whenever you're describing something, keep in mind physical appearance is a must. You need to first start off with physical appearances. In case of things and object, ideally, appearance related to the size and description of appearance with respect to size, shape, color, so on and so forth. You can add as many as you want, depending on what you want to do, right? Then, as opposed to the other thing, with respect to people, we are talking about the negative, positive qualities, right? We're trying to add that. Here, because it's an object, you're going to talk about its function. So once you talk about the appearance, you can also add a few lines on its function. Why is it like, for example, what is the use of this product? How is it useful for you? What is its function? And then other additional details like the material or weight or texture. anything else, whatever, that looks good to you. Examples here, appearance in terms of size, shape, and color. The vase is tall and slender, shaped like a teardrop with a glossy turquoise lace. Okay. So size, shape, color. Each of it has size, shape, color. Because I included only size, shape, and color. If you want to add more to it, of course, you can include whatever fits your description. The watch is small and round with a silver frame and a black leather strap. Function, the vase is used for holding flowers as a decorative piece on a table. Watch is used for telling time, but also stylish accessory. Right? Again, use of adjectives and adverbs are very predominantly seen. Additional details, material, weight, texture, can see on screen. Fine ceramic, light in weight, smooth finish. Okay, made of stainless steel, genuine leather, slightly heavy, costing nearly, look at the use of adverbs, right? It costs around 800. So adverb will use nearly 5,000, right? Now, describing places, once again, how does the place look? Physical appearance. Now, in the physical appearance of the places, when you're describing it, you need to ensure that at least three things are included. That includes the space and settings, the time, and the people and things, right? So when you describe the place, the physical appearance of a place, you talk definitely about the space and settings, the size, the shape, the environment that you are in, time, like what time of the year, month, season, and also the people and things in that space, that environment, that place, right? So all the three together will help the description of place, to talk about the physical appearance of that place. Then, of course, the second one, your feelings, right? What do you think about the place? What exactly do you express? You feel you want to, or what is it that appeals to your senses when it comes to the place, right? What do you feel about it? And then additional details, right? Some examples, space and settings examples. Market covers an entire city block. Okay, entire city block. Narrow lanes crisscrossing like a maze. Park is oval shaped, surrounded by tall leafy trees that form a natural wall. School building stands 3 stories high, painted bright yellow with wide verandas. So space and settings, right? Each of the sentence describes size, shape, and environment in which the uh, the given space or place is located. Then time, garden bursts into color with tulips and daffodils swaying in the breeze. Okay. During the monsoon means the river swells and rushes past the town in muddy torrents. Right? Muddy torrents. So it's not simply saying that the river swells and rushes past the town in running waters. So instead of just using an ordinary expression like that, they changed to muddy torrents, right? In December, the streets were strung with fairy lights for the Christmas festival, right? So simply saying that the town was decorated uh, in Christmas colors, you say the streets are strung with fairy lights for the Christmas festival, right? So you add more sensory details, right? The writing needs to add more sensory details to make it a successful descriptive paragraph writing. Okay. Yeah, feeling about the place. Yeah, you can add anything as you wish. Nostalgic warmth, the last sentence. Sense of calm, feels alive, buzzing with energy, right? All of these are details that you could use. Details. Okay, details. Details could be anything, right? Depends on what you want to write. Some examples are on the screen. You may take a look at them. Worn smooth from centuries of footsteps. Air is thick, right? Thick air. Thick air with the smell of roasted peanuts and sweet jaggery. Why is it thick? Because of the smell of roasted peanuts and sweet jaggery. So all of this carries some kind of imagery in them, right? It's mostly poetic, as you write. Sound of temple bell echoes through the alleyways, blending with the hum of conversation. Right? All of them are picturesque. I hope you understand what I meant by appealing to senses and picturesque now, right? These sentences give you a good example of what we mean by picturesque presentation and what we mean by writing that appeals to the senses. Okay? All right? Any questions here, or is it clear to you?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Fine. Very clear. Okay. Glad it's very clear. Okay. So I'll go further. I think we're almost nearing the end of what we're supposed to. Oh, this we don't require for our work. Now what I'll do is I'll take you to the exercise part. I think we are right in time to finish off the. We'll have enough time to do that. This one exercise, and then I think even if you do not finish the full writing, I am not going to complain about it as long as we can get there. So I'll share the link with you in a short while so that you can sign into that website. Student based. I'll keep it student based. Okay. I'll share the link with you. Just tell me if it is visible. Oh, I should not have closed it. Shabarish, you have a question you can ask. Meanwhile, I share.
I have a question regarding activity 9.5. I was not able
What
to
is
upload
activity
it.
9.5?
It was about uploading
Sorry?
something. It was about uploading a
Oh, no,
file.
no. Shabarish, I don't know. Okay, you can ask, but then this session is not meant for that. It's not a doubt clearance session. But okay,
Not
anyway, meanwhile,
doubt clearing. I
yeah.
was not able to upload it. It says that I don't have access.
Okay. I think you will have to write to the Discords. Somebody should be able to help. Because now if I have to do that, I'll have to go back and check it now. And right now I don't have time.
Okay. Okay. I just
Okay.
want to let
So,
you know so that it won't
okay.
affect me.
I'll let know the team. This is what activity 9.5, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. I'll let the team know about it. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Why am I not getting the link? The network is really bad. Okay. This link. Yeah, I think you'll get the link now. Paste. Okay, so you have the link in the chat box now. Please sign into that. I mean, you don't have to sign in. You just need to enter that website using this link. You will be able to access the questions there. Once you have done that, just confirm with me whether you're able to see the screen or not. I mean, see the questions. Is it visible? I don't know how many of you have joined, but
Able to access that.
you're able to access now?
Yes.
Okay, so these questions we've already done. This questions on object permanence and all that. So we're going to do this one. This exercise is particularly in connection with the unity and cohesion topic that we discussed. Okay, so which sentence affects the unity of the paragraph? So you have 5 sentences there, and you're going to read each one of them, and you need to pick out one sentence from these 5 which is unnecessary to this paragraph. Okay. So when I say unnecessary, how do you identify this unnecessary one? The sentence that doesn't, talk anything relevant to the main idea of the paragraph, right? Or something. If you remove that sentence from this paragraph, it is not going to make any difference to the paragraph. The paragraph will still make full sense. Okay. So figure out which sentence is that in the 5 of them that you have here, among the 5 you have here. That one is your uh, sentence, or that one is the entity that is affecting the unity of your paragraph. Okay, so I think we have some 4 questions of this type, and then finally the writing activity. Tell me one more thing, please. Confirm and let me know. Are you able to move between the questions? Can you like move on to the next question? Is that feature enabled for you at your end?
Yes, there's the arrow mark, and if you click it, we can move through the pages.
You can move through the slides, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So if in case you're already done with the first one, you can also go to the second question. You don't have to wait for me to ask or change the screen for you, right? Because anyway, I'm not sharing this one. You are already given access, so you can move between the slides. So 5:30, at 5:40, we will discuss the answers to this question. By 5:45, you can start writing your paragraph activity, right? We might exceed a little bit, maybe by 10 minutes or so, although I know that I've promised to stop half an hour before, but because we went on for that break, we lost some 15 minutes, but that's okay. That break was required. So maybe instead of 6, we'll end at 6:10 or so that I can complete it entirely. And you also get some time to write. But at 5:40, we'll discuss the answers to this particular question, okay? Which is slide number 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 5, 6, 7. Okay. How well are you doing? Is it okay or are you finding it difficult?
It is okay, ma'am.
It's okay, right? Okay. They're not very difficult. They're not designed to be very difficult. This is- Okay. Another 3 minutes and we can discuss the answers. Okay, I think we can discuss, right? So what is the answer you wrote for the first one? Divers in France have found the oldest known bust of Roman detector, Caesar, at the bottom of the river Rhone. The bust was thrown in the river after he was assassinated. The marble bust was found near Arles, which was founded by Caesar. France's culture ministry said the bust was from 46 BC, the date of the southern town's foundation. The ministry described the bust, which shows a lined face and a balding head, as typical of realist portraits of the Republican era. Which one? Which sentence did you find was not really necessary? Which one affects the unity of the paragraph?
And fourth one.
The France's culture ministry says was from 56 BC, date of the. Okay. Why? Why so? And any other answers?
Because
Anybody with a different answer? Okay, okay. Explain, explain.
because here the paragraph is telling about the date. It is indirect. It is it transition to the foundation date of Southern Town Foundation. While we see at the rest sentence, they all are tightly connected to the burst.
Okay, so this is not about this one is also connected to the bus, no? It talks about um, the age of the bus, right? It's from 46 BC.
But
That
ma'am,
sentence
half
does contain that information. Half, as in?
as in my like in the half sentence it tells about the date of the birth, but in the rest of the sentence it jumps to the date, like it says that it uses as like the date of the Southern Town Foundation. That's why I
Ah,
said.
that is a description for 46 BC. So 46 BC, which is the date of the Southern Towns Foundation. It's just an additional detail that's not harming much, but it's still about the bust only. That sentence also talks about the bust, about the age of or the temporal part of, time reference of the bust.
Ma'am, I feel the
Yeah. Any other answers? Anybody?
Second one.
Okay. Second one. Any other answers? Sorry.
third
Third
one.
one. Okay, second and third. So we look at second and third. So we have the bus was thrown in the river after he was assassinated, and the marble bus was found near Arles, which was founded by Caesar. Now, again, the third one, it tells you about where it was located. Again, it's about the bust only, right? It gives you details, archaeological details about the bust. Where was it found? When was it found? How was it found? No? So not how was it found. How was it found is already, I think, found oldest known. Bottom of the river, where is already mentioned. And third sentence continues into the first sentence, right? From the first sentence where on the location. Fourth sentence is about when it was found. Ministry described the bust, which shows a lined face and a balding head, as typical of realist portrait. So this is again about the bust of the, making of the bust, right? Second sentence, however, the bust was thrown in the river after he was assassinated, is something that is not directly about the bust, right? This is a kind of sentence which you can do away with, right? You take it out and it's not going to make much of a difference to your paragraph. Unlike the other sentences which has something directly to talk about the bust. Okay, that sentence doesn't have anything directly to talk about the bust. It's just it's like a additional petty information given about it. It was thrown in the river after he was assassinated. Obviously, before he is assassinated, you cannot throw it also, right? It's not possible. So that information is not very relevant. It's not adding any value to your paragraph. So sentence number 2 is what you can do away with in this question. Okay. Others are all directly linked to the bust. It tells you some or the other details about the bust. Okay, second one. How about this one? Man has drowned after diving into a reservoir to rescue his girlfriend's daughter from the water. The girl slipped when trying to catch a ball while playing with the man and her mother. The girl got herself out, but the man got into difficulties. The fire brigade was called out, and 2 hours later, officers recovered the man's body from the water. The report will be submitted to the police and the coroner.
In the first one.
The first sentence, the
Ma'am, the
man
third
has
one.
drowned after diving into. No,
Yes.
not the first one. First one you need. That
Ma'am,
is like the
third one.
introductory sentence. Third one is what the girl got herself out, but yes, that is a good candidate. The
Yes.
girl got herself out, but the man got into difficulties because we already said what happened, right? So she's saved. We know who died. Okay. And that sentence, the girl got herself out, but the man got into difficulties, is a kind of useless repetition. It's redundant. We already know that he drowned and, while rescuing the daughter. So what's the point of saying that again? And it's also very,
Ma'am,
very dicey. Look at that. But the man got into difficulties. It
ma'am,
doesn't give you any relevant details. Yeah, tell me.
ma'am, I I think fourth one will can be removed. Like, but if we remove the third one, then if we keep the fourth one, then why it is this recovered the man body? It somehow it don't mean the same. So
Try,
I
try
think fourth
reading
one
it.
can be removed.
A man has drowned after diving into reservoir to rescue his girlfriend's daughter from water. The girl slipped when trying to catch a ball while playing the man and her mother. Okay. So you're saying if you remove the third one, then the fourth
No,
one.
no. Yes, I'm saying that if we remove the third one, then fourth one looks incomplete. Like the
Yeah.
officer recovered man's body. What man? Like it direct. It can be some other man too. But if we keep the third one, then it tells that the man got into difficulties while getting the girl out.
But the second sentence already has it. When trying to catch a ball while playing with the man. The man is already, you're saying the man, right? And look at the sentence number 4. It again says the man. So we've already identified who the man is, and which is why we're saying
No,
the man, referring to that specific man.
no,
Okay.
like man got into difficulty. Like in the fourth, it is saying that recovered the body, but recovered the body of what? Like we have to clarify that man got into difficulties.
I don't quite follow because I think it's already established that who died, right? The man is the one who died. That's what the first
Okay, okay,
sentence
okay,
says,
okay,
right?
okay,
The
okay.
first sentence already, which is why we start a man has drawn, then you say girl, then say the man
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
while playing,
Uh,
then comes the man. So not a problem. Okay.
Actually, I was not focusing on that droned word. I it's my mistake. Sorry.
Yes, yes. So third is something that you can cut off. You can take it off because it simply doesn't add anything, no value. It's a random sentence. Okay, next one. This one is very hazy. Yeah, what was your answer here? Before starting an exercise program, consulting a physician is particularly important for the sportsman. According to a report, sports injuries among baby boomers increased by 33% uh, from 1991 to 1998. In 1998, baby boomers suffered more than 1 million sports injuries, cost over $18.7 billion medical expenses. The highest numbers of sports related injuries came from bicycling, basketball, baseball, and running. The most common injuries were due to accidents or overuse and affected the knees, ankles, lower back, and shoulders. It's a very clear cut uh, paragraph. What can go away? Which sentence?
The fifth one.
The very first sentence. The very first sentence, right? Before starting an exercise program, consulting a physician is particularly important for the sportsman. Rest of the sentences from 2 to 5, it's all about what? It's about sports related injuries, right? It's a
Yes,
statistics on
ma'am.
sport related injuries. But that one sentence, the first sentence, it's sitting oddly from nowhere, it's like an advice before starting an exercise program, consult a physician in particularly. That makes no sense to the rest of the paragraph. It may be useful if you're continuing it as an essay, but then to the rest of the sentences, definitely the first one is a misfit, right? It doesn't belong to that paragraph for sure. Okay, right. All right. Okay, now we move on. We won't do this one. This was for coherence, but I think it's okay. We can do away with this. It's fine. Or do you want to do it? I am okay. I can stay back a little more, but if you people are rushing away somewhere, then we can go to the writing one. You want to do this one? Rewrite the following paragraph to make it coherent. Let
I
me know.
can try, but what I don't know what about others.
You will have to basically add transition devices in between in order to make it more coherent. Right now, it just reads like a bunch of sentences untied to each other, right? South Africa faces several tough challenges because of corruption. National soccer team is not doing very well. Corruption is bad for a country. Some say corruption makes the currency weak. We need a new coach for Bafana. South Africa has a few good things going for it as well. So it's a jumbled paragraph as well as something that lacks transition. If you do it, you will take, I think, a good odd 5 to 8 minutes to do that. You can try doing that, or maybe we can discuss together. Maybe that can accelerate the process. What do you want to do?
We can do it together.
Okay, so let's discuss this then. Okay, first we'll decide upon the order. Okay, what sentence goes first? So which one do you think will go first? Read it. You can take a minute, read it, and then we can discuss. Which sentence goes first? South Africa faces will that go first? South Africa faces several tough challenges because of corruption. Yes, that can go first,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
guess, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what else? What goes next? Natural, this thing, corruption is bad for a country, right? I think that is the next sentence that can go because there is no other way we can place that sentence anywhere.
We can use it in concluding sentence.
Corruption is bad for a country.
Like first we are saying about South Africa is have challenges like corruption. Then we describe about like problem in the soccer team, and then we conclude connected to the topic.
Mm, Not really, because you look at that other sentence. South Africa has a few good things going for it as well. Good things going for it as well. Actually, it should not be as well. But anyway, we can end it at a strike of that as well. South Africa has a few good things going for it. You can stop there as well. I don't know where did it make an entry from. That sentence would be trimmed to South Africa has a few good things going for it. We have that sentence here, right? That is sort of a concluding sentence because it's basically rewiring or restating the first sentence. South Africa faces several tough challenges because of corruption, right? Few has a few good things going means it doesn't have actually many nice things happening. There are more bad things happening. Few good things. It's not right.
Okay.
Yeah. Somebody with some question. Yeah, go ahead. If you have a question, you may ask.
Ma'am, we need to include like first good things as well as bad things.
I mean, you look at the question, it mostly does say about the bad thing only. I don't see anything good that is being mentioned, right? So that last line you see is like a round of sentence, a concluding sentence, which basically restates that, yeah, things are bad. Okay. So the first and the last sentence is fixed for us. First is the first sentence and last is the last sentence by order on the screen. First sentence, South Africa faces several tough challenges because of corruption. Last sentence is South Africa has a few good things going for it. Right? There you can stop. So in between, you need to fix the order. So what comes next after the first sentence? South Africa faces several tough challenges. Corruption is bad for a country. Natural order that should come. Corruption is bad for a country. Then you give examples of why it is bad. So some say, followed by some say that it weakens the national currency. Automatic order. After that, the national soccer team is not doing very well, and followed by we need a new coach for Bafna, right? So that is how the order is going to be. So if I have to, this will be the order. Now, if I have to rewrite, I will have to use a lot of transition devices in between, right? So how do I do that? I wish I could copy this. Just give me a moment. I'll go to that other slide and copy this one. Otherwise, I won't be able to show you the transition properly. Okay, copy. Where is your meeting? Yeah, paste. And I have to rearrange the order. The national soccer team. Copy. Some say corruption makes the currency weak. Only this much, only one have to be there. Okay, so now I've copied it. So, as far as the order is concerned, this is what it's going to be, right? Please look at your chat. So, South Africa faces several tough challenges because of corruption. Corruption is bad for a country. Some say corruption makes the currency weak. The national soccer team is not doing very well. We need a new coach for Bafna. South Africa has a few good things going for it as well, right? So this is the order in which it should happen. Now, in this, the sentences just in the order is not doing the work for us. The reason being there is no flow, right? Things are not flowing. One sentence isn't flowing to the other. There seems to be some kind of a missing bridge between them. that we can do. So if I'm going to fix it here, I'll have to add some transition device. So after the first sentence, South Africa faces several tough challenges because of corruption. What can I add before the sentence there? Corruption is bad for a country. So I
As
can add
it's
something like this. Uh-huh.
as
No,
it's bad.
as an introductory phrase, I'm adding an introductory connecting transition. So something like, to begin
When
with.
we can say like corruption is bad for our country and South Africa faces several tough challenges because of it.
Oh no, that is okay. Leave the first sentence. Usually for the first sentence, you don't have to provide a transition, right? It's the very first sentence. After the first sentence is what you begin doing the transition. So before the sentence corruption is bad for a country, you might have to add a phrase or a word to bridge that sentence to the very first sentence. So I can do something like to begin with. Okay, so to begin with, corruption is bad for a country. Okay. So to begin with acts as a bridge here between the first and the second. Then I want to join the next two sentences because, or maybe I can just leave it there. I don't need a transition there. So to begin with, corruption is bad for a country. Some say corruption makes the currency. Yeah, I need a transition there. So I can use a transition device which makes me add more, right? Because when I say that corruption makes the currency weak, I'm adding to my earlier statement that corruption is bad for a country, right? So some transition device that can be used to add another sentence or add another feature. So what will it be? I can either say also or I can say moreover, right? Let me use moreover. Moreover, some say corruption makes the currency weak. Okay. Again, when I say we need, where is the other? Yeah. Okay. Then when I say the national soccer team is not doing well, the next sentence following that, right? What am I doing? Am I still adding to the corruption problems?
No.
Am I not adding to the corruption problem? So it is making the currency weak. The national soccer team is also not doing well, right? In some sense, I'm still elaborating on the problems of corruption. Am I not?
Yes, ma'am, but in a little.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, see, of course, it is not a contrast, right? So the only choice you have between this is whether I'm adding or I'm contrasting. So definitely, this is not a contrasting statement. It's still in the direction of the argument, original argument that there is corruption there and it is bad, right? Which is also affecting the national soccer team. That's the sense, right? So if I have to add a transition there, then I can write something like in addition to the above mentioned, in addition to the above, or I'll maybe just write in addition to the above. In addition to the above, the national soccer team is not doing very well. Okay. So what transition can I use between in addition to the above, the national soccer team is not doing very well. We need a new coach for Bafna. I need a transition device before that sentence. Between the national soccer team is not doing very well and we need a coach, new coach for Bafna. Can you give me some? One or two?
Therefore,
Okay, in addition to the above, the national soccer team is not doing very well. Therefore we need a new coach for Bafna. Okay. Okay. Therefore, any other answers? Yeah. No, nobody has any.
No, ma'am, and therefore seems correct.
Therefore seems okay for you. Yeah, therefore seems okay to me as well. Just thinking if someone has any better idea. Therefore, I mean, anything that means similar to that, right? So, therefore, as a result, consequently, does, for this reason, anything, right? So, we'll keep it to therefore, since that was the answer that was given. Uh, not well, therefore, comma, we need a new coach for Bafna. And then after that, South Africa has a few good. Before that, do we need anything?
However, however.
However,
However,
okay. However, so I can add however, nevertheless, nonetheless, anything that means similar to however, okay? However, South Africa has a few things going for it as well. Now read the paragraph, it's there entirely, right? South Africa faces several tough challenges because of corruption. Happened, yeah. Mm. To begin with, corruption is bad for a country. Moreover, some say corruption makes the currency weak. In addition to the above, the national soccer team is not doing very well. Therefore, we need a new coach for Bafna. However, South Africa has a few good things going for it as well. Okay? Yes? Far better
Okay.
than what you had
yes,
on
ma'am.
your slide, right? Now it is a wholesome thing, right? You have added transition devices. You've also changed the order of the sentences so as to make it a full whole. So this is what you should be, doing to make your paragraph effective. Okay? All right.
And
Yeah.
for the second sentence, the corruption is bad for country. We used to
Hmm.
begin with. So can
Yeah.
we say therefore we can say that corruption is bad for country?
But we
Or
haven't established anything, no? We have only given the first claim. To say therefore, we'll have to give something in support of that, like we did in the last paragraph, sorry, in the last sentence, right? Second last sentence. So before we said any of those things, we mentioned a few instances of corruption. So we had some, some ground to do that. But in the very second sentence, we still not established anything. So therefore, it's too early to be used. We are only setting the premise at this point to begin to talk about what kind of corruption challenges they have.
okay, got
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Good. So we then go to the next one, right? You have a writing exercise. Now this is a full writing exercise. So it's a free writing task, which means you choose your own topic. So you can choose from what I have suggested, or you can take your own. I don't have a problem with any of those, except that you need to ensure all of these things that the question asks you to do, right? So structure of the paragraph, you need to ensure that it has a structure, right? Which means all the components must be included. Plus, you need to work on the descriptive outline, which is ideas followed by word choice, followed by the outline. Then you need to also ensure that your paragraph is unity and cohesion, the activity that we just did. Okay. So choose anything. I do not wish you to write more than 5 or 6 sentences. The only aim of this exercise is to know if you have understood the basic principles of paragraph writing and descriptive paragraph writing. So I'm not looking for a full blown big paragraph. 5 to 6 sentences would do, which I think you can achieve in the next 10 minutes. Right? Okay, start writing. You can choose any of the topics that's here: memorable trip or valuable possession. Or if you have anything that you are more confident to write about your own topic, you can write that as well. No problem. And the next one, the last exercise that you have, this is for you to, you can do that on your own, right? This is about the identification of adjectives. We already did it. I actually used to do this activity at the end of the writing to make people understand adjective order. But now that I've already discussed it with you, we don't have to do it in the class itself. You can look at your write up and identify the adjective grouping in that. But we'll wind up with the free writing task today. Okay. Twelve responses. May I just go back and see how many of you are in the call? 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. About 15 of you, but I think only 12 of you have logged in. It's okay. Even if you're not able to finish it in the class, I'll leave the session open for you to complete. But the only thing you will have to do is you'll have to save the link for this, thing somewhere. If you don't save it, then you won't be able to log in back and work on the activity. In case, you don't feel like doing it immediately, it's fine. Because anyway, I'm not going to provide an immediate feedback in the class now. So if you want to take it up later, that also works for me, but you will have to save the link somewhere. Okay. And then come back to it. I'll keep this open for maybe 1 or 2 days, 1 day maximum. By tomorrow, you can finish up this. And whoever gives a written submission, I mean, the submission is automatic. You don't have to submit it anywhere. If I find any submission, then I'll send you a feedback on that. Okay. Try to finish up. If it is not possible, you can do it as a take home assignment also. For people who have submitted, I'm reading now. And if there's anything, I'll tell you right away. With my first thing, which was with my day that got started. Mhm. Okay. So this description of the trip is going to behave mostly like the description of the place, right? So you will have to talk about the space settings, you'll have to talk about the time, you'll have to talk about the people and things that you found there, your feelings about them, right? All of this would come into question. So because trip is, again, it's a spatial experience. So the description of a trip will have a lot of elements of the description of how the description of a place is done, right? All those elements get included in it. Okay. Some of you have started writing. Good going. I like it so far. Please complete it. And don't keep it very trite. Okay. Don't keep it boring. Don't keep your sentences very stiff, right? Add more modifiers because it's descriptive writing. No, try to make it more picturesque. With descriptive writing, if you do not use enough adjectives, it's going to look very, 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 very stiff and very, very unsavory, right? Doesn't fit well with people. Experienced. So exploration and observing marine life. Okay. You don't have to use a transition in every line. It's not really necessary. Okay, this one is fine. The second one that I read, but I think it's very short, right? It's very trimmed and very crisp, but then it needs to have more variety and flavor. So you can maybe say when you say uh, the calm waves and pleasant atmosphere create an immediate sense of peace. Explain, right? Explain how you felt this. The sense of peace. It should come through your language. So use more expressive language. Express the sense of peace instead of simply saying sense of peace. That I experience sense of peace. Elaborate because experiential writing, right? Picturesque writing. So dig a little deeper into this experience of sense of peace. How did you feel? Elaborate more on that. Uh, again, life made the visit enriching. How? Right? The whole point is how. So, why did you think it was enriching? So, add more details to that. Make it more appealing to the senses. Make the writing more sensory. Nature. And try to avoid using adjectives that are too generic, right? Very common, like amazing, uh, beautiful, pleasant. They're very, very generic, right? They cannot convey the exact feeling or idea or the experience. Add more experiential adjectives, something that can add more value, can add more content to your writing, right? Keep away the generic ones. Keep them away. When you say amazing product, you don't know why is it amazing, right? Add, why do you think it is amazing? You can say amazing at the end, right? The product has this so and so features, it behaves like this, it feels this way, and hence it is amazing. That you can say. So that needs to come out. You need to write more about that. Not even one person on the uh, what is that? Valuable possession. Everyone's writing on trip. Okay. It's blowing on our face. Ha 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 ha. This last one is making a good attempt at trying to describe. Okay. Breezing wind. Breezing wind. Check if that usage is possible. Use something other than breezing. Okay. Maybe you can use the word breeze itself instead of wind, because wind, I don't know how positive that is. But find another adjective for breezing, right? It was drizzling. It is memorial until okay, mother and father. And wind was blowing on her face. Yeah. So this, although that expression requires some kind of refinement, this is exactly the kind of writing you should be doing in descriptive writing, right? So it was wind blowing in on our face, right? So this is experiential. This is picturesque. When someone reads, they can feel it. Yes, wind blowing in my face, wind blowing on their faces, right? So while the language the vocabulary can be a bit more refined, you can look for how you can polish it, but still the technique is good, right? When you use this is exactly what is called experiential writing, picturesque writing. Holding my hand, walking on the beach, right? See these things, this adds to the description, right? Yeah. So I'm glad you have picked up on the technique. You need to write it down, and once the draft is ready, of course you can polishing is of course a secondary thing. You can first let out what you want to write and then do the polishing part. But full marks on identifying the way to write it. The technique is on point. I think that's the first thing which gets to my mind is my most. Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. The time he returned home, it's bathed in sun. Yes, good. This one is good. It's sunny, gloomy, bathed in sun. Yes, nice. But we had returned. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Uploaded lives, assertions, cyphers, on not reverse. Okay. Also, do not use symbols, right? Don't use the ampersand for and. Just write A and D and. Okay. No symbolic language in writing. White snow, clear rivers. Just a few things of its beautiful side, but overall, you cannot describe in words. Okay, so this one, no, the white snow and clear rivers are just a few things of its beautiful side. But overall, now one thing about writing, right? This I'm going to get a little poetic here. So when you do this, you I don't know how many you have you heard the song Afri Afri from Coke Studio? What's the major
Yes.
point of that? Huh? Most of us would have heard. No? It was quite a popular track. Now, the whole thing, he says that, I do not have words to, um, I do not have quite enough words in your praise, is what the whole song goes like. But then if you look at the song, that song is full of praise. After having showered the person with praises, the poet says that I am short of words to praise, right? So that is the beauty of writing. So when you write something like this, that words cannot express the beauty, this should only come after you have given enough words of beauty, right? After you have given that uh, feel of, that there aren't enough words, you can write it. When you've written only little, and when you say that I don't have enough words, it basically says I don't know how to write. Okay. So do it that way. Provide enough details, provide enough adjectives and modifiers to talk about it. And then as a, how do I put it, as a, mm, yeah, write this thing about that words cannot express the beauty as an intensifier. Okay, as an intensifier of the fact that words may not be enough to describe the beauty. Don't write two things and then write, I don't have words. That simply says I don't know how to write. Okay, it doesn't explain the point. So
And
write it like that song was written. Write as much as possible, as much of visual, narration that you can give. And then it should be like a neat sign off on the fact that even though I have written so much, I know that this isn't it. No, it's like that. So
yeah,
that kind of,
ma'am,
huh.
I was saying more words were not coming in my mind. That's why I first wrote 2 to 3 words, and
So don't write that.
then
See, that's
my
what I'm
mind
saying.
went blank, so I wrote that.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so this is the point. So if you had stopped at that thing, no, it was okay. But in writing, after you write little bit and then you say that no, I don't have anything more to write, it's a negative thing. So people be like, okay, now you have you've confessed it. It's okay. That's good of you. But even if you hadn't, before even you confessed, I understood. No, that was the problem. So don't do that. Either you stop it at that, right? Write that two things and stop there. But if you plan to add the statement that, this isn't enough to describe, ensure that you have described enough. And then you write that this isn't enough. Okay.
Okay, okay,
That's the
ma'am.
point. So,
Like
I mean, these
I
things are not connected to writing as such. This is more of a practical understanding of things, right? Which is why I cited that example of the song. That is exactly
Yeah.
what that song does. It praises, 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 goes on praising, and then says that words aren't enough. I cannot do enough of the praise, right? That's what it says. That is what adds beauty to the poetry as well as the song. Okay. But I think most of you have made a good attempt at writing. I'm glad you're catching on something. So what I have seen is I'm ignoring the grammatical errors and all of those things at this point because that you can always refine later. But if you have understood the technique of writing, then that's the point of the workshop to teach you how to write this. The technique is more important, which quite a few of you have understood. So I'm glad that's working. And whatever rules and guidelines that I have mentioned, remember that they're only guidelines, right? They're not hardbound rules. You can, of course, play around with them. You can break them wherever your situation or your purpose demands it. So it's not something that is fixed in time and space. Do not treat it as as a dictum or some kind of a commandment from the divine or anything. That's something that you can obviously break. No problem. Okay. All right. Most of them doing well. Okay. So can we close then? Those of you writing, you can continue writing. I will take a look at them. I'm not in a hurry, but I think we have stretched too far now. I'm guilty of that, and I don't want to, further commit any sin now. So maybe we can sign off now. So the recording for the session would be, as usual, available to you. It may be made available by, I think, latest by Monday next week. So if you wish to take a look at it, or for the benefit of people who wouldn't join today or weren't able to remain for all the 3.5 hours, you can they can also benefit from that. So it would be found in the same, near the in the same column in the calendar where you found the link to this session, right? So it's a separate playlist. YouTube playlist would be attached. They can use it. You can access it from there.
Ma'am,
Right.
can I
So
can
yeah,
I ask
go ahead,
one
go ahead.
query?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Ma'am, actually, I'm not able to get the links because the calendar is not opening in my dashboard. I didn't get my student email ID as well.
You haven't subscribed to the calendar, the academic calendar.
I'm not sure because I'm not able to get it.
So
So,
that is why you need to subscribe to the academic calendar. Only after that you will
uh,
see your calendar populated with all these sessions. Okay.
okay, but I'm doing add calendar on dashboard, but it is not happening, ma'am.
Oh, why should that be the case?
Uh,
Anybody who
I
can
will
help him? Anyone in the call
Actually,
who knows? Yeah.
actually, like in the dashboard, no,
add calendar, right?
there is when you in the dashboard when you get the link of the calendar, open that link in desktop, and then you will redirect to Google Calendar link, and then you can add calendar in your Google Calendar. In the ITM website, you can't see the subject. I see all that links in my Google Calendar.
Okay, sure. I will try.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Thank
Right.
you. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Abhay, for the help.
thank
Okay. Okay, Kshitij,
you.
try that. If it doesn't work, then please ask around. At least write to what is that, the
Yeah, because
discussion
this
forum.
link I got only from the WhatsApp group. That's why.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, everyone. See, I think we can sign off for today, right? I don't think nothing in
I'm
that.
act- actually I have having I can't make words for the first topic. Like you can just tell 4 to 5 sentences. Valuable possession.
Sorry, what is it? Come again?
And I was saying that I can't think of sentences for the first topic. Like you are saying
Oh,
that
it is only, it says or, no? If you've written on one thing, that's enough. The choice was
no,
between
no.
the valuable possession or prep.
Oh, I am understanding, but just or
Ah,
if you can give some sentences for example, if can.
if I can give some examples, oh, that will take time. Uh, let's see. Uh, just a second. Oh, valuable possession. Maybe if I say, I think I want to write about. First, I'll have to decide about what I should write on. Maybe I'll write about the watch. Okay, so if I have to say, then I'll have to, of course, begin with the description of its physical appearance, right? So, uh, Right. So maybe, I mean, generic things, I'm just going to avoid all the generic. I'm just going to talk about the part which is important as far as the, adjectives part is concerned, right? So let's say I begin with saying that the most valuable possession is a watch that was gifted to me on my birthday. And say that it has a unique physical appearance besides the emotional value that I hold for it. It has, what do I say, slim silver strap, a square black dial, and golden markings that make it look elegant and timeless. Something of that sort. You can add whatever
Oh,
appearances that you want to add to it. And
okay,
then
ma'am.
about what I feel about it, right? So what I feel about it would be the second thing that I write, right? So I can write anything. I can say whenever I wear it, um, I feel confident and I feel connected to the person who gifted it to me, right? It reminds me of the support, care, and affection that they hold for me. In addition to that, I also like the fact that this particular watch fits well with all my or goes well with all my outfit. It matches almost all the outfit that I have, something along that line. Um, it also makes me feel organized and well put together, right? Because it's a watch, of course, it helps you see time, notice time. Or you can also say, however, the watch also makes me feel nervous if I am wearing it to an exam, right? It also makes me nervous if I would lose it or if I, uh, you know, spoil or scratch it by mistake or lose it, right? But despite all the worries or nervousness associated with it, I still cherish the possession for its beauty, for its meaning, and the emotion it carries. Something of that sort. Just something that I cooked up now. You can write anything like that. Of course, you can polish it better. I was only
Okay,
giving
ma'am.
you hints on what you can write.
Okay, ma'am. Actually, I was not getting the meaning of accurate meaning. So it means
Mm,
affection. Affection.
mm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Valuable
ma'am.
possession is anything, it could be even something that uh, you have received as a tribute from someone or a gift from someone, anything of it's basically a thing. That's all.
Okay. Actually, that valuable adjective I was not getting. Like, how can I write a valuable like possession
Oh,
in a way is wrong? How can I say? That's why I was not
oh,
getting word.
oh, okay. Okay, okay. Got it. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. All right. Thank you. So, okay, I think we are well and good about this. We'll sign out then. We'll wrap up for today and all the best. I hope this session was useful for you. Okay. And I'll leave this page open. I mean, I'm not closing down this activity for people who want to work on it, but certainly by tomorrow, 5 p.m. or so, I'm going to close it up. So if anyone is planning to submit or write more, then do it by that time. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you all again.
Thank you.
Sure. See you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And bye bye. See you again.